What's up, dude? I think we're here. I think we're live. I think we're going. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? We in here. We in here. We in here. Cheerio, mate. Top of the morning to ya, partner. Actually, it's 12:33 Mountain Standard Time on June 24th. How's it going, guys? What's up? Do we got a doozy today, actually, bro? What's up, Melissa Clark's in the house? Bro, I'm pretty positive. I can't say for sure. We got some people on YouTube already. What's up, YouTube? What's up, dude? What's up, dude? YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Get the hearts. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, thank you. Subscription from Queen Trip. What's up, girl? That's my wife. She's here. She's in the house. If you're here, let's just start this off with a banger for everyone seeing this now and for everybody seeing this later. The best thing we can do currently in this moment, especially about the shit we're about to go over, bro, is I think I found some stuff in the Epstein files using web that I don't think really anybody knows about or talked about very much. I hope to see you there. We are going to finish the Khazarian Mafia documentary at the very end. We have some clips that we're going to go over on X. And then before we begin, I got a pretty good mindful message for you today, bro. Got a pretty good mindful message for you today. But before we get into all that, can we just start it off right and everybody comment something you're grateful for? Comment something you're grateful for. But yeah, like I said, sorry about that. My kids were speaking to me. You know, I'm a dad of 4. Got 2 kids upstairs. Can we please just start the stream off strong and just comment something you're grateful for? To be honest, my wife, Queen Trip, I'm calling you out. She's been really going through it, feeling like a lot of her days are repetitive. Now, mind you, I stay home and create content, and she has to go to her Matrix job from 9 to 5, well, 8 to 4, but yeah. And so I just want to give a shout out to Queen Trip. I'm grateful for all the hard work that you put in for our family, having to do stuff that a lot of days you're not too happy about. You know what I mean? Trying to get to where we got to get so homie can flex like a real man should and retire his wife. If she wants to retire, mind you. But who do we got up in here? All right. Because to be honest, I'm just internally grateful for her. Like, she goes to her job and works her ass off every single day, while I have for the last 18 months just put everything I have into what you are seeing today. I've grown so much in the last 18 months, specifically when it comes to my content. And I just have to give a lot of it up to her, because if without her, none of it would have been possible. She's the one that told me, maybe you just need to follow your dreams. And I think the universe is telling you that this is the time, specifically after I lost my job 1 week after we just moved into our new place. And I just want to say that I'm grateful for her. She supports me and encourages me, and I just love her so much. Okay. Who's up in here? If you're here on Facebook, there's 8 people on Facebook. What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? What's up, Twitch? We got already right off the rip, bro. Right off the rip, we got 6 peeps up on freaking YouTube, bro. YouTube is growing, bro. I remember when just a month ago, bro, there was not even ever 1 or 2 on YouTube, bro. We'd be growing it. All right. Let's see who we got. What do we got up over here on Twitch? We got Twitch. Tripoverdrip, right? It's everywhere. It's all over my pages. You can also come stream with us on Twitch. Same thing, Tripoverdrip. We also got YouTube going up over here. Bro, we got a doozy for you, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I'm thinking there's like connections to like the 19th hole at a Donald Trump golf course connected to a missing or dead girl and the Epstein files. I hope you're still here at the end of the stream when we go through this, bro. So this is a layout for everybody who's new. But for everybody who's not new, you all keep me going. Thank you. We're growing every single day. I just have to also say I really appreciate you guys just turning out every time, bro. Whether you turn out for the live stream or you just see it later, or you don't see the live streams and you just see a meme or a reel or a video I post, and every like, comment, and share for everything that you see of mine, I just want to say I appreciate you, bro. Okay. We got something for you. What's up, Facebook? What's up, Chanel Smith? Everybody could just spam. Let me get a little quick head count on all three platforms. Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Can we just drop Team Human in the chat? I see Brittany going on all platforms. Thanks, Britt. I already see that my wife is up in here. What's up? What's up, Stacy? I see you. Stacy Russell, I see you on Facebook. What's up? Reba Linda. What's up? Melissa Clark's in the house. What's up? Team Humans in the house. Embry Vance, what's up? I see Nicole, Dominic, Clarissa Hannah. We've got Scruffmeister up in here. Cobra Kai. What's up, guys? Oh, man. What's up, dude? Oh man, do I got a banger one for you today, bud? Buckle up. What's up, doing human stuff? Bro, you're first time chatter. What's up? Team Human. It's just a bunch of humans. I hope with the opening message I can encourage you to stay for later. 2 birthdays. Happy birthday. Happy B-Earth Day to Lawrence. His birthday is today as well. And happy B-Earth Day to all the individuals that have B-Earth Days on this week. But remember, time is fake. Don't keep track of how old you are. It's just a subconscious trap. You know what I'm saying? Subconscious trap to make you feel like you're growing, to make you get closer and closer and closer. All right, you guys ready for this? Cheers. I'd be willing to bet there are 2 kinds of people right now that are doing shadow work. The ones that are using it to like come back to themselves, and then the ones that are accidentally using it to tear themselves apart. Everyone online right now is shouting like, do your shadow work. But nobody's talking about the fact that you have either 2 choices. You can either integrate your shadow or you can drown in it. Now, some people, bro, are using shadow work to become more honest, more compassionate, and more accountable. Others are ripping open their deepest wounds at 2 a.m. alone with no support and no tools. And then they wonder why they feel worse, but they still call it ascension. Shadow work is not supposed to feel like emotionally waterboarding yourself. It's not the more I suffer, the more spiritual I am. It's not if I drag up every single painful memory at once, I'll finally be free. Because underneath all of this is really just one simple truth. Your shadow is not a demon that you need to exorcise. It's simply just the unhealed version of you that needs a relationship, not execution. So let's be straight with yourselves, at least for 1 second. Are you doing the shadow work to bring yourself home, or just simply to prove how broken you are? And if some part of you already knows that you're ready for a kinder way through the dark, you could just comment gentle integration in the comments. So you've got a little marker that says, this is the day I choose healing over self-harm in the name of depth. So let's call out what's really happening in a lot of the shadow work trends. You've got people with years of buried trauma with zero support, and a For You page that's full of journal on this prompt and you'll change your life. So they sit down, open up the Notes app or like a $30 work journal app and then they ask themselves, what's wrong with me? Where am I toxic? How am I the problem in every relationship? And then they wonder why they spiral. It's because it's not healing, bro. You're just bullying yourself with spiritual language. Shadow work without safety becomes a witch hunt inside of your own psyche. You start treating every uncomfortable emotion as proof that you're unhealed. You start dissecting every reaction like it's a crime scene. You start calling normal human response shadow just because they aren't pretty. The result is that you just simply don't trust yourself more. You trust yourself less. You don't become more whole. You become more suspicious of every part of you that isn't kind, calm, and quote-worthy 24/7. Like, real talk, bro. If your healing work leaves you feeling hopeless, ashamed, and more disconnected from your body, that's not healing work, bro. It's literally self-harm dressed up in spiritual language. Because we all have to come to this radical acceptance that your shadow is not your enemy, bro. Because this is the part that never really makes it into like those viral reels about shadow work. Your shadow is not evil. It's not your enemy. It's not a part of you that needs to be killed. Your shadow is the anger that you weren't allowed to express, the sadness that you were told to swallow, the jealousy, fear, control, clinginess, defensiveness that formed around the places that felt unsafe and unloved. It's the collection of your strategies that your younger self built to survive. And when you go to war with your shadow, you're going to war with your own survival system. No wonder it fights back. No wonder you feel like you're stuck in patterns. No wonder your nervous system freaks out when you try to rip those strategies out overnight. The point of real shadow work is not to erase those parts. Dude, it's simply just to understand them. Not understand, to understand them. To be able to say, oh, that's my abandonment fear talking. Thank you for trying to protect me. I'm going to make a different choice now. It's the ability to say, oh, that's my need for control showing up. Because chaos used to be dangerous for me, but I see you. I'm going to breathe instead of snapping. Dude, that's real integration. And it doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it refuses to dehumanize the parts of you that formed in response to real pain. So here's a simple test. After you do shadow work like journaling, meditating, your inner child stuff, whatever you feel. But do you feel a little clearer? When you're done, do you feel a little softer towards yourself? Do you feel like you're able to maybe choose differently next time? Or do you feel like you've just proved to yourself again and again that you're the problem? Or that like everything is your fault? You're now responsible for healing every generational wound by sunset. The first one is uncomfortable but productive discomfort. The second is just spiritualized shame. Productive shadow work looks like I see the pattern. I don't love it, but I understand where it came from. Here's one tiny way I can show up differently next time. The toxic shadow work, though, it sounds like I see the problem. I hate myself for it. I guess that's just who I am forever. One builds capacity and the other one builds a cage. And if this is hitting a little bit too close, that's not by accident. It means that there's a part of you that's wiser than that you've been letting yourself to believe, that through your healing journey, you have to allow yourself to be run by your inner critic inside of your crown. If that wiser part of you is awake right now, just take a few breaths with them for a second, bro. Because they're the ones I'm talking to. So what does gentle integration actually look like, though? It looks like shadow work in tiny sips, not chugging the whole bottle at once. It could look like choosing one theme at a time, whether it's abandonment, anger, control. Not all of them in a single night, though. Excuse me. And then you just end with a deep dive with some kind of regulation. You're ending with a deep dive with some kind of regulation, breathing, stretching, going outside, talking to a real human, not just closing your journal and then opening up another app. It looks like answering different questions, bro. Instead of what's wrong with me, you could try, what did I have to become to survive what I went through? Instead of saying, why am I so toxic? You can say, what part of me is still convinced that this is the only way to stay safe? Instead of saying, how do I get rid of this part of me? You can simply just say, how do I give this part of me a different job? You're not weak for needing support. Some shadows are not meant to be explored alone. Therapists, somatic workers, trusted friends, spiritual guides. These aren't luxuries. They're guardrails when you're walking into dark corners of your own story. If this landed at all, if something in you just relaxed because you realize that you don't have to brutalize yourself anymore to grow, you could also just comment the words soft courage. So you remember that you chose to be brave without being brutal. Now, to the humans who are deep in this shadow era, digging through old wounds, old stories, and old versions of themselves, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind if you still have shadows. You're alive. You're not less spiritual because you react sometimes. You're going to still get jealous. You're still going to get scared. You're still going to shut down. You're a human nervous system trying to do the real inner work in a world that keeps rewarding you, bro, for surface level performances. And that alone right there, bro, is something that you should be proud of. So here's what I'd love for you to do with all of this. Pick one shadow theme that's loud right now for you. It could be abandonment. It could be control. It could be anger. It could be people pleasing. Whatever it is, just decide that you're going to approach it the rest of this week with curiosity instead of cruelty. And then just one question, or maybe one journal page, or just one conversation, or maybe just one therapy session, not an 8-hour marathon of ripping yourself open, but just one. Ask yourself, how can I grow from this? And if this is the kind of conversation that helps you feel less crazy and more human, you could also just stick around, hit the follow button, hit subscribe, and share this with someone else who's been trying to heal alone in the dark. And for you specifically, Instagram, long videos like this, Instagram won't push them unless you carry them. So if this actually helped you, send this to a friend, throw it on your story, so it can reach another soul who needs to hear that their shadow is not a death sentence. That's what Team Human feels like over here. Not people pretending that they're pure light, but people learning how to hold their own darkness with love, so it doesn't run the show from underground. You don't have to fight yourself to grow. You just have to be willing to meet every part of you with honesty and enough gentleness that it finally believes that you're on the same side. I love you, Team Human. Shit! Damn, boy. I'll be telling you, bro. I'll be telling you. Cheerio, mate. Top of the morning to you. I don't know. That was a banger, wasn't it? I'm just telling you, bro. I don't mean to toot my own horn, toot toot, but I don't think there's content creators out there like me, bro. I don't think there's content creators out there that like hit multiple niches. We talk about Epstein. We're talking about fucking secret societies of the ancient, occult, symbolistic, magical past. But then for some reason, the divine decided that they were going to equip me with the capacity to try my best to just speak to your soul, bro. None of this means anything, bro, if I'm not helping people in at least some capacity. At least that's what I believe. I really appreciate you guys for being here, bro. Because we got some shit to get into, homie. Yeah, and then we like, yeah, I don't think there's like a content creator that's like, hey, just come hang out with me on a live stream for a second. I'm going to give you something to feed your soul. We're going to talk about some topics that are fire keywords across the internet and just try and integrate it and figure it out together. And then we're going to do some deep diving into Jeffrey Epstein, and then potentially we're going to end at the last little bit of a Khazarian mafia documentary. And I'm almost willing to bet by the end of this, the last few days we've done this, we also do like a breath work guided meditation thing at the end. It's almost like a sandwich, you know, positive God, love, light in the beginning. And then I can't leave you with this heavy energy that potentially is going to be piled on throughout this entire live stream. I don't feel like I would be doing you any good as if after the live stream, I just let you go into the world carrying this heavy, dark, satanic weight sometimes. So if it gets too heavy, don't be scared. You could just ask and say something in the comments that you feel like we're going to need breath work, because it's really just related off of what we say, bro. Some days I'm maybe not feeling it, but if there's enough of you like, holy shit, today was heavy, can we do some breath work? Then we're going to do breath work at the end. A meditation, a chakra energy cleansing meditation, bro. Who's here for that, bro? Let's see. We got 4 people. Josh, what's up, bro? What's up, Willow? What's up, Amy? Julia's in the house. What's up? YouTube, what's up? Facebook, what's up? Twitch, what's up? Dang, bro, we got 10 on YouTube. What's up, bro? What's up, dude? Oh, what's up, motherfucker? Probably a duck's in the house. Dang, New Zealand's in the house. Prestige worldwide. If you wanted to right now, dude, I just love to see it. I haven't actually done this for a while. I like to like visualize in my head how far and wide my message is spreading. So if you could just drop your location in the chat, that would be so awesome, dude. Because for some reason at that point, then my head like visualizes the earth and like these little lighthouses all on the places of where you are. And then I just visualize like ripples and light spreading across the planet. I'm in Utah, bro. We got Canada up in here. We got Canada in here. We got Mexico up in here. Pennsylvania, Oklahoma City. Sheep. Let's go. Fuck yeah. We got a lot of peeps up in here today, bro. 7 a.m. in New Zealand. We got Hayesville, Kansas. Michigan, Pittsburgh. What's up? Georgia, Baja, Mexico. Prestige worldwide. Wide. Georgia, the first word in entertainment. I love that movie. All right, you guys ready to get into these clips? We got some clips. We got some motherfucking clips to get into today, boy. We got some clips to get into today, boy. All right, first and foremost, I apologize that the very first clip has to be a clip of a demon. You know what I'm saying? But and then it's also going to be in Hebrew, so you won't be able to hear it what he's saying. So if you have the opportunity, potentially you can look at the captions. But I will afterwards, if you don't potentially look at the captions, don't worry. At the very end, I'll definitely tell you what this demon said. All right? You guys ready?
גם בלבנון, גם מול איראן, אבל אני רוצה להגיד לכם שני דברים. כל עוד אני ראש ממשלה, לאיראן לא יהיה נשק גרעיני.
As long as I'm prime minister, Iran will have no nuclear weapons.
ועוד דבר, כל עוד אני ראש ממשלה, אנחנו שומרים על רצועת הביטחון בדרום לבנון.
One more thing. As long as I am prime minister, we will maintain the security strip in South Lebanon, which is the land that they basically just stole from Lebanon when they convinced us to go to war. He also goes on to say in this longer clips of this, Bibi Netanyahu supposedly goes on to say, when it came to President Trump, I told him we are going to war with Iran. I did not ask for permission. I simply informed him of our plan. Of our plan? Almost as if like they're butt buddies. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think about Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. They... You know what I'm saying? I don't mean to be graphic. I'm just going to say it how it is. Oh, please, Bibi, no, don't release the files, dude. Poppy, Bibi. Just kidding. Okay. Y'all know who this woman is? Roseanne Barr. Dude, I remember growing up as a kid, bro, watching her show on TV called Roseanne. Yeah, I was born in the late 1900s, bro. Let's just hear what old Roseanne has to say. You know what I'm saying? Let's hear what she has to say. You know, she's been on TV for decades, bro. So let's hear what she's got to say. She would have the inside scoop, wouldn't she? She would know the ins and outs of like Hollywood and TV production if she's been in that industry, especially in like the 90s, the early 2000s.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood.
Okay, if you believe what she's saying, you can just put alien emotes in the chat for people who are new here. If you ever get and we start resonating with things, you know, you could always help the algorithm. And if you agree with something, alien emotes in the chat are always the go-to, because I definitely think she is definitely telling the truth, bro. They fucking love human flesh, bro. And they like to eat babies.
They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because you spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those schools. And they've covered it all up. They've covered it all up. And, you know, I just pray to God. I'm just going to pray to God that he opens everybody's eyes in this country. By the time we go in to vote for Trump, that he will open up everybody's eyes and they will stop pretending to be asleep.
Okay. Just so you know, just have to preface this. This was before Trump did get elected. And since then, she has been on Trump's ass. But that's what she was hoping, is that everybody would wake up. And guess what? Trump did what every politician does. Is they just lie to you. because they know that if they get elected into office, it's just a fast track to endless cash, bro. You got people paying you to change the law, people paying you to vote a certain way on a certain bill, people paying you to cover up the Epstein files and to stay quiet, potentially and allegedly Kash Patel paying his closest confidants to keep quiet about his misconduct at the FBI. Dang, that one caught me by the boo-boo. You know what I'm saying, though?
You know what they say, you can't wake people up that are pretending to be asleep, but I pray to God, please wake up even those who are pretending to be asleep with the irrefutable truth of what the worst people on this planet are really up to. They are really up to that. They're doing it. There are so many victims. There are so many victims. There are so many children victims that are now adults. The epidemic in America is child sexual abuse, and I just want people to see it. I want people to open up their eyes and see how prevalent and horrible it is. 1 of 3 girls, 1 of 4 boys in this country today. It's just horrible, and you just can't lie it away anymore. It's going to get more and more apparent, and you got to choose your side.
To be honest, there is so many people, you're right, Julia, waking up decades later. And I'd be willing to bet if you're here and you actually are the one of the people that stick around, we already did pick a side, right? It's obvious just how in your face they are about liking to abuse children, consume them, sacrifice them to their gods. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy, bro. It's everywhere, bro. And I'm going to show you how everywhere it is when we get into this Epstein file deep dive I was going down. It's pretty crazy, bro. The Rothschilds, the Sinaloa cartel. We're going to get to that after these clips. I hope you're still here. Let's just hear what old Tucker Carlson has to say.
Place right now, because Israel is, for the first time maybe in my lifetime, legitimately threatened. And I say this as an opponent of the Israeli government, obviously a fairly well-known opponent of the Israeli government, but I don't want to see innocents die anywhere, including Israel, period. I believe in universal standards. It's always wrong to kill innocent people, including in Israel. So I'm not wishing their destruction, but I think they are in a very tough spot. And the problem for Israel is they've been talking for 50 years, my whole conscious life, about how they're on the verge of being destroyed. And that's always been a lie. But now you have an Iran that is a regional power. It's a global power. And it's not going to go away. And so Israel is in a place where domestically the country's gone crazy. They're convincing themselves that, you know, every crisis is an existential crisis. The only way out is to kill more people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then their great enemy suddenly becomes, paradoxically, ironically, way more powerful than it was when this war started 3 months ago. And so, like, where does that leave the Israelis? By the way, the United States is clearly going to begin the process, hopefully a short process, of distancing itself from Israel. We've got no choice.
We've got no choice, but they just integrated into our freaking military. What happens, bro? What happens if they put in a backdoor virus to like get like missile codes or something that they can remotely fire off, so they're like using our military missiles to shoot something? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of insane to think about, actually. Allegedly, I have no idea if that's true. But let's just hear what old motherfucking shit has to say, because I hope this happens, bro. Maybe we'll actually get, I don't know what will happen, but just listen.
you want to know how high the stakes are? Just ask Donald Trump. This is what he told Republicans it would mean for him if Republicans lose control of Capitol Hill.
You got to win the midterms, because if we don't win the midterms, it's just going to be, I mean, they'll find a reason to impeach me. I'll get impeached.
I'll get impeached. In the 18 months since Donald Trump took the reins of the federal government, he's taken this country for a ride it didn't sign up for. He's launched a war that he said he would not launch. His policies have raised the cost of living instead of lowering it, and he's weaponized a justice system that he claims was weaponized against him. As Trump fully admitted in that clip you just heard, he fears accountability. And that is, do you want to know how high the stakes are?
Woo!
Just ask Donald Trump. This is what he told...
What do you think? What is it that you think? He's scared, huh? He's like, please, please win the midterms. The midterms. Hey, Julian Dory, what's up? Friend of the show. Bro, you think he scares, he's fearful of accountability because there's a huge portion of this country, bro, that are pretty convinced that he's in the Epstein files pretty graphically with lots of abuse. At least that's what the files that are available imply. There's no actual evidence. And from what I was reading, majority of the people who are the supposed victims of Donald, they're all mysteriously dead or committed suicide. It's weird.
Activists for Gaza, activists from Europe who were, being activists for Gaza. He went in and taunted them and, wanted to show them who daddy is, I guess. He's just regular activists. But it's a video, I have the link, but yeah, that's it. You see them, they're laughing as they, commit human rights abuses, getting physical with the prisoners and all that. I mean, they're dragging them, look at them laughing. Psycho. Waving the Israeli flag. Got them all in the prone position like the El Salvador prisons. This is who he is. This is also someone who was the leader of advocating for the law it's a race law. Where does that sound familiar from? A race law that allows for the Israeli government to execute Palestinian prisoners that they deem terrorists. This went through a few months ago, and he was in the build-up to getting the law passed, which they celebrated with champagne and a birthday cake, because it was around his birthday as well, that had a noose as the icing decoration on the cake. Nice guy. He was also wearing a noose lapel. Do we have that picture right there, Deef? I think I put it. There's a lot of links. I'm sorry. Yeah. Deef will pull it up. I put like 40 links right there, so he's got to find where that is. But, he wore a noose lapel into the Knesset. And before you say, this guy is a total exception to the rule, he's not. Israel has a lot of different parties, and part of Benjamin Netanyahu coming back to power in 2023 was getting coalitions of various right-wing groups behind him, which include Ben-Gvir's party that holds 6 of the 120 seats, I want to say it is, in the Knesset, and then Smotrich's party as well. The finance minister is extremely right-wing. Basically, they are kingmakers to Benjamin Netanyahu, and if they pull their support, he could effectively lose his government. Some of that gets above my pay grade, exactly what the process there in Israel's government, but that is how it is, which means they have sway over say here. And I've said forever, as demonic as Netanyahu is, he's a choir boy compared to people like this. And I do want to give a shout out to Vice, which I think has really lost its way over the years for a lot of reasons, but they did do a great documentary a few years.
Let's see here. You guys know who he was talking about? Ben-Gvir. This guy. He's the Israeli minister He says, we cannot stop destroying houses in southern Lebanon. We cannot stop, period. We cannot allow the population of southern Lebanon to even return. We must continue to control the territory even if Trump disagrees. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. I found this video. It's 20 minutes. We're going to be getting into the Epstein stuff after this. But it says the feds lied, bro. Meta embedded facial recognition inside of smart glasses that were worn by ICE agents. AI just executed in American in the streets. Let's just see what it says.
All right, so we have been talking quite a bit here recently on the Stu Peters Show about the automation of everything, the installation of an AI-driven super surveillance state that just completely wipes away this country as we have ever known it and transforms America into the kind of technocratic, robotic police state that you would see in a 1960s science fiction flick. Only it's not science fiction. It never really was. It was predictive programming, and now it's becoming our reality. Over the past year and a half alone, Donald Trump has declared himself to be the AI president. Hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars have been spent developing and implementing these systems, and countless taxpayer dollars have been dumped into subsidizing the construction of the hyperscale data centers that will power the coming surveillance state, as well as the power plants that are being constructed right alongside them to keep the surveillance centers pumping. In fact, earlier last week, Trump was bragging about all of this at the G7 with Howard Lutnick standing right behind him.
Artificial intelligence, which is amazing what's going on with that. It's going to be the biggest thing ever. We have to be very careful with it. It's both great and could be bad. We have to be careful with it, but we're leading China. We're leading the world on that. We're allowing them to do their own electric plants because they need, as an example, those buildings are so big, and they're not taking the community's electricity. I gave them the right. It was my idea. I gave them the right to build electric plants like...
Dang. Sammy Sweetheart's in the house. What's up, Sammy? What's good?
Medicine in New York, dig we must, and they've come up with plants that nobody's ever seen anything like them. Those are by very high IQ people. So they're actually building electric plants. So because otherwise they could never build a building because the grid is old and tired and broken and a mess. So they're building it, and they're going to sell their, very cheaply, they're going to sell their extra electricity into the grid. So we take care of a lot of things, like California, which doesn't have nearly enough electricity. They don't know what they're doing there. And instead of having blackouts and brownouts, they'll be able not to.
Yeah, so on his white horse, Trump came riding back into office, and immediately big tech was weaponized and unleashed on the American people, which is disgustingly ironic when you think about it, considering the fact that Donald Trump pretended to be at war with these people for 8 years as he decried big tech censorship and portrayed himself as the biggest victim of it. And then he vowed to rein these people in as soon as he took back the White House. But just like every other critical campaign promise, he did the exact opposite. From the very first week of his presidency, he was joined by AI oligarchs at the White House. People like Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel in the Oval Office, and Donald Trump has been effecting an artificial intelligence coup against the American people ever since. And his wife, Melania Trump, or whatever you want to call this woman, Jeffrey Epstein Sloppy Seconds, has effecting an artificial intelligence coup against America's children by way of the White House and by way of America's education system. Through her Fostering the Future initiative as First Lady, this woman has managed to seize a massive position of influence over the American education system. And now...
Hey, does everybody see the dude? I'm sorry. I was just talking about the dude right there. I think it's E.T. Or Brigitte Macron.
As they have monetized this presidency in every way imaginable, Melania Trump is using that position of influence to pump federal grant money into big tech partnership programs that subvert America's schools and America's children with artificial intelligence. And I'm not just talking about large language models that teenagers use to write essays while they play video games. What I'm talking about here is humanoid robots that are used to subvert the minds of America's children so that they will view that humanoid robot as some type of an authority figure, a teacher. As Melania Trump would describe it, as a gentle teacher who knows everything and tailors its lesson plans to the minds of each individual student.
Imagine a humanoid educator named Plato. Access to the classical studies is now instantaneous. Literature, science, art, philosophy, mathematics, and history. Humanity's entire corpus of information is available in the comfort of your home. Plato will provide a personalized experience, adaptive to the needs of each student. Plato is always patient and always available. Predictably, our children will develop deep critical thinking and independent reasoning abilities. The AI-powered Plato will boost analytic skills and problem solving and adapt in real time to a student's pace, prior knowledge, and even emotional state.
Okay, so first and foremost, are you serious? There's no fucking way I'm letting some AI robot in my house to teach my children. Oh. Thanks, Clete. No motherfucking way I'm letting one in there, bro. You guys have seen enough on fucking the live streams, bro, when Perplexity, the AI, just straight lies to me, and I'm asking questions to get clarification on something I kind of just like feel is the truth. I know that these platforms are programmed by the oligarchs, you know what I mean? The tech billionaires that go get all undressed and hang out with Peter Thiel in a hot tub somewhere type of guys, you know? Hell nah.
The byproduct, a more well-rounded lifestyle for our children, freeing up time for being with friends, playing sports, and developing interests.
No, this is not live right now. This is a clip from when Melania Trump brought out an AI robot and was talking about how her vision is to have AI robot teachers in every home in America teaching our children so they can get rid of the school system.
Beyond school. A more complete person. But as discussed yesterday, we must balance our tech optimism with caution. The safety of our next generation is always paramount. Knowledge is the foundation of civilization. But although academia is interesting, business is compelling. For real growth in technology and education, I encourage you to bring the private and public sector.
Especially, bro. Y'all ready for a hot take, huh? A hot take will bring you in real close. Especially if you think about fucking, they're just gonna have a basically an intelligent camera in your home that we still don't even have transparency about if any of these people building the robots like to molest children. You know what I mean? So what if someone that's like one of these tech dudes that's in AI and robotics and they're like super pedophile, bro. And they're just like building surveillance systems to help track and monitor children to know which children basically the parents are never home. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to definitely, at first, You know, they're going to give us like robots that are like companions. And then that's what's going to happen is someone's actually going to have like someone else actually is going to be a victim of like murder, and the robot isn't going to be built to protect it, which will then force everyone to believe that robots that can fight and are strong and have high ability to defend themselves and attack are necessary to protect us. And then that's when they just roll out the ones that come door to door and collect us like slaves and put us in concentration camps. You know, they're like slow playing it. So like in a sense, we almost just like go willingly. I don't know. Maybe I'm off based. I don't know. All I heard is that you're right, Julia. I heard that the Terminator was the prequel to the Matrix. Actually, it was supposed to be a trilogy. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong.
Worlds together.
Well, that sounds like something straight out of hell. And when you hear it described in Melania Trump's accent, it genuinely sounds like something directly out of a horror movie. And that's pretty much what we're living in.
Can we just agree, bro? Can we come to a conclusion real fast, guys? Can we come to the conclusion, bro? I'm sorry, but whenever it always sounds like a supervillain, bro, when these elites are like talking about like dystopian fucking concepts and they have like a not English accent, like American accent, at least for me. Maybe it seems different for like other countries, but at least for me being born in America, if there's like some super wealthy elite and he's got like some accent, bro, I automatically just think like he's a super villain, bro, like has like a fucking layer somewhere built into the side of a mountain, bro, where his operation takes place, you know, kind of like Dr. Evil, you know what I mean?
Here, a horror movie. Robots in control of America's children in taxpayer-funded prisons for kids, indoctrination camps that we refer to as classrooms, grooming those children to accept computers and AI-powered humanoid robots as legitimate figures of authority, as legitimate members of government by the time they're adults, and as for members of our government and so-called figures of authority, they're already deploying and weaponizing artificial intelligence against the American people at every chance that they get. Over the past year and a half, as the Department of...
Hey, real quick. Can I just do something real fast? Okay, let me do this real fast. First of all, let me just drop this down. Oh, here's our Jeffrey Epstein deep dive about the island, the cartel, the Rothschilds, and the girl behind the 19th hole at a golf course, I guess, connected to Trump. But that's not why we're right here. We're actually going over here so I can say, hey, Facebook, check this out, bro. I got fucking a YouTube channel that I'm also live streaming on right now while you're on Facebook as well. I'm trying to accomplish some goals over here on YouTube, bro. I hit the 1,000 subs. Now, bro, I need to hit 3,000 hours watch time. So if you prefer Facebook, you could chill on Facebook. That's okay. And if you do stay on Facebook, could you please just make sure that you're commenting to help the algorithm and just smashing that little like button that you can just hit over and over and over again. I appreciate you. For real. I'm simultaneously actually live on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, all streaming the same thing. You're watching it on Facebook like this, up and down, vertical, correct? On YouTube, I don't know if it does this for Facebook, but on YouTube, you can turn it sideways. So like potentially in a little bit, when we get to where like there's these documents and stuff, I don't necessarily know if you'll be able to like see them the best. That's the only reason I'm encouraging over to YouTube. You can stay wherever you want, but I love you. Thank you for being here. We got a pretty good group on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? I haven't had 8 consistent viewers for quite a while, bro. I've been shadow banned, bro. I talk about Epstein too much, bro. I'm telling talking about Epstein and the freaking ancient secret societies of like Illuminati, Freemasonry, and like fucking Khazarian mafia, bro. Facebook doesn't really like me, bro. All of a sudden, my numbers were going like this. They went like this, and then they went straight down. So if you're here on Facebook, please hit all the buttons. It really does help me a lot. But let's finish this clip. We only got about fucking 13 more minutes left. We're about an hour in. Definitely got enough time, bro. Definitely got enough time. I'll be live for at least another hour and a half or so, bro.
Homeland Security has sent ICE and Border Patrol agents into American cities not to actually run mass deportations, not to actually deport illegals, but to stoke confrontations with the angry mobs their political co-conspirators turn out into the streets. They have been testing AI-driven tracking and surveillance technology, especially smart glasses.
Y'all can see the camera, right? Right on the edge of his glasses. Bro, this is a wild take. You know how there was like ICE agents that neutralized citizens? What if those motherfuckers were wearing smart glasses and live streaming it for a bunch of sick ass motherfuckers that wanted to watch a snuff video, bro? That's kind of crazy to even think about, bro. Because you really have no idea who's connected to those glasses, and you really would never actually ever be able to even find that file unless the person that's connected to those glasses gives access or it gets leaked. But it's kind of insane to think about, because you know that happens, right? Where like there's these dark ass chat rooms full of like straight spawns from demons and Satan that join these chat rooms and pay money for people to harm other humans or even self-harm. It's fucking disgusting, bro. Dark, bro.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, why are you taking my information down?
Because we have a nice little database.
Oh, good.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist. So.
Now, at the time that those images were going viral, your federal government and the big tech corporations responsible for manufacturing those glasses were insisting that those glasses were not, in fact, equipped with AI-driven facial recognition technology. And that despite all of the concern from the American public, those feds were just wearing those glasses for the sake of wearing them, I guess.
Interesting. What do you guys think, bro? What is it that you guys think, bro? I can't tell you what to believe. This little segment where we go over these clips, bro, I can't say that anything that we watch is true, because I don't actually even fucking know what's true, bro. I'm just a human. I'm a human in a system that every single person who has an agenda, that has wealth and power, are all trying to convince me of certain topics and certain beliefs, either if they're conspiratorial or they're real. All these different factions of mafia type wealth structures, they're all just like fucking, they're all trying to make me believe something else. For example, the war right now, right? There's hella fucking propaganda coming from Iran into American algorithms. Tons of it. There's also Israeli, there's Russian propaganda, there's Chinese propaganda, there's African propaganda. There's like a whole bunch of fucking, everyone's trying to take our attention away, right? It's our attention that's the most valuable commodity. Because why? Because where attention goes, what? Oh, yeah. Where attention goes, energy flows. And the people at the top are so aware of how the universe works. They're the ones that are probably holding all the secrets and wanting to keep us stupid and dumb us down through toxic chemicals and toxic water and toxic food and toxic air, bro. It's insane. And now they have the technology, it seems to me, that to bring in a surveillance state. This is I wanted to play this because it sounds compelling. I don't even know who this Stu Peters is. I never even heard of him before until I seen this clip. Seems crazy, huh? It seems so crazy. And you know what's the craziest part, dude? Is freaking the craziest part, bro, is the fact that not only us as humans have to deal with like spiritual propaganda, bro. We're dealing with like moral propaganda, which is like goes against like what we think is right and wrong. We're dealing with like propaganda like deep, deep, deep down to our soul, bro. To like if we believe in God or not. Why do you think everything that's at one point in your life probably was looked at as like a sin, or maybe not that word is the label, but something else, right? It was like not good, immoral, not hurt people, like, stuff like that. That you shouldn't hurt a human. You shouldn't take a human's life. That's murder, right? Like morals, right? And then all of a sudden now, I mean, every girl that's going into puberty, she's fully aware of what OnlyFans is. Every man that gets into gaming and sports and anything of the nature, they're going to be fully aware of also what OnlyFans is, but they're also going to be bombarded with gambling ads. And then all of the content creators that they watch are consistently promoting these gambling ads, giving them that just 0.01% slice of hope that they can hit that big one that changes their life. And they've watched it happen repeatedly in very long sequences by being a follower of Mr. Beast and watching what people will do for money. It just all seems insane, bruh. If you resonate, you can just say, I concur, Sir Merlin, the wizard. You are a wizard. I'm a wizard. Are you a wizard? Or a witch, or a sorceress, an alchemist, transmuter. You know what I mean? There's lots of different words. Empath. You know what I mean? All right, you guys ready to get in this crazy freaking Epstein rabbit hole, bro? Are you guys ready? Brought no drink. Okay, so this is going to take a while. We've got lots to go over. Okay? I've got lots and lots of documents and lots of shit to go over, bro. There's like, this breaks down, this Epstein thing is probably going to take over the next hour, bro. It's got lots of parts, bro. All 7 different parts that we're all going to tie together, bro. So I'm going to go to the bathroom, okay? While I go to the bathroom, we are just, don't play? Okay, good. We are just going to come over here. I'm just going to put on something for y'all to watch. The Tulsi cult, a bizarre cult leader control revealed. Weird. I'm just going to put something on for y'all to watch while I run upstairs and go potty. Get me some more drink. Oh my goodness. If I go I just don't want to leave. I just don't want to. Oh yeah, it's got a bear thing on it. I'm trying to get it in the mic, huh? Ooh. Sorry, but it's a bear stamp, bro. Cause I'm a freaking, I'm a bear, bro. That's my spirit animal. Anyways, are you guys still gonna be here, bro? If I go, cause I don't want to go. If you're gonna leave, cause this dive into Epstein, bro, it's kind of insane. There's quite a bit of stuff in here that I didn't really know, bro. And I'm gonna learn a whole bunch while we go through it. So let me just play a little Tucker clip real fast.
And protection of.
What is Christian Zionism? Where does it come from? Is it Christian? What's your assessment?
Well, if you listen to people online, every Christian is a Zionist, just naturally, right?
Yes.
So the proponents of it will tell you that it is the de facto position on Israel, and it always has been for Christians, to believe in the establishment and support and protection of a Jewish ethno state in Palestine. Christian Zionism.
Doesn't it say in the Bible that those who bless Israel will be blessed and those who don't will be cursed?
Yeah, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you've had probably about 1,000 different people tell you that. That's something that we hear every single day as Christians.
I couldn't find it. I got my concordance out. I couldn't find it.
Well, I remember the interview with Huckabee, and he couldn't find it either, which is weird when you cite it all the time. Or actually, that was Ted Cruz that couldn't remember where it was. I'm not sure that Ted even knew, like, if it was in the front of the Bible or in the back of the Bible.
I have no idea.
But yeah, so Genesis chapter 12, verse 3 says, I will bless those that bless thee and curse those that curse thee. And from that, and I'm simplifying it, but from that comes this more philosophical notion than theological, that we as Christians have a duty-bound obligation to protect and to defend and also to help establish a nation for the Jewish people in Palestine. And it hasn't always been Palestine. So when political Zionism first developed, they had posited Morocco and Galveston, Texas, Ohio, Siberia, different places.
Galveston, Texas?
Yeah, there was a substantial number of Jews there, and they thought this could be sort of the safe space for Judaism worldwide, which made sense because the United States has always been a pretty hospitable place for Jews. But anyways, so far as it concerns Christian Zionism, that is tied to a theology called dispensationalism. Dispensationalism is a theology invented by John Nelson Darby.
What does the word mean, dispensationalism?
Well, the term refers to different dispensations of time by which God operates differently and deals or interacts with man differently depending upon what dispensation of time it's in. So dispensationalism is juxtaposed against covenant theology. And those are your two basic viewpoints of Christians throughout the history of Christianity. And for the most part, there's only those two perspectives. You can get lost into the weeds really easily.
Yes.
So John Nelson Darby, he belonged to a bizarre Irish sect. It was sectarian. They had basically schismed their way outside of the established church. They had several different theological hangups. One is that they rejected all forms of church authority. They were what I would call sectarian minimalists. So they reject the organized church. They rejected the established church. And part of the reason is because their beliefs were so eccentric and weird, they would have been excommunicated had they remained in the established church. So after moving from Ireland to Plymouth, England, the notion of dispensationalism grew. And essentially the difference between dispensationalism and covenant theology is that God in covenant theology is interacting with man in accordance to the old or the new covenant. And so the bulk of the church from the first days of the apostles through the church fathers, through the Protestant Reformation, whether we're talking...
Okay, I'm here. Who is it that's still up in here? Who is it that's still up in here? Who is it that's still up in here? Who is still up in here? All right. We got Pretty Ricky. We got Clarissa up in here. We got Brittany. We got Becky from New Zealand. Jay Smooth. What's up? We got Donna Ray. What's up? Veronica's up in the house. Brittany, Nicole. What's up? We got Embry, Sammy Sweetheart, motherfucking Menace. She, what's up? Hell yeah, what's up, Julia? Or Julia. Embry, what's up? Hell yeah. Oh boy, do I got a good one for you, huh? They are. You are right, Eternity. Scruffmeister's in here. Okay, let me get this ready to roll. Let's get this ready to roll. You guys ready for this? This is going to be a deep dive, bro. This is going to be a rough one. So hopefully you stick around. Thank y'all for being here. Can we just start it off and get some Team Humans in the chat? Because this is going to be dark. Okay, so there's a version of Jeffrey Epstein and the story about him that you already know. It goes like this. There's a hedge fund financier with a private island who preyed on teenage girls, flew a parade of powerful men on his jet, got a laughingly lenient plea deal from a U.S. attorney who was friendly in Florida, and then died in a federal detention center before he could ever even face a jury. The names that surface in this story are familiar. Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Les Wexner, Alan Dershowitz. The headlines have already all been written. The documentaries have or are already in the making. There's over 1.4 million files on Jeffrey Epstein, from the DOJ disclosures to the FBI confidential source reports to the grand jury transcripts to internal emails. But they all tell actually a different story, bro. It's a story that the mainstream coverage has barely even touched. And it runs from the 12th floor of Leslie Wexner's building in Manhattan through a compound in New Mexico, into the boardrooms of the Rothschild banking dynasty and across to the Sinaloa cartel's killing fields. It goes past the membership roles of the Trilateral Commission and the Council of Foreign Relations, through a proposal for a new Rosicrucianism, and ends with a young girl buried behind the 19th hole of a Donald Trump golf course. I hope you're ready for this story because we're about to go deep. Okay. Before you can understand the empire, you have to understand the document that made it untouchable. On September 24th, 2007, Jeffrey Epstein signed a non-prosecution agreement with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida. On the surface, it was a lenient deal. Epstein would plead guilty to 2 state prostitution charges. He would serve 18 months in a county jail with work release, and the federal government would not prosecute him for child sex trafficking. But the agreement contained a clause that transformed this from a controversial plea deal into something that's super, super dark, bro. It extended immunity to any potential co-conspirators. It didn't even name them. It didn't limit how many of them there can be. It covered everyone, past, present, and future. The agreement mentioned only 2 women by name, Sarah Kellen and Nadia Marcinkova. But the language opened the door for the entire network. 5 DOJ officials signed it, including Deputy Attorney General Mark Flip He was the head of the then criminal division, it was General Mark Flip and the head of the criminal division, Alice Fisher. The very peoples whose job it was to prosecute Epstein had agreed to immunize his entire enterprise. The man who negotiated that language, yeah, it was Alan Dershowitz, the Harvard law professor who defended O.J. Simpson and wrote the Starr report that impeached Bill Clinton. A later court filing from the Edwards versus Dershowitz case alleges that Dershowitz was not merely a legal advisor, but an eyewitness to the sexual abuse of minors by Epstein. And that his legal work for Epstein effectively immunized him from prosecution of his own involvement. 30 victims were known at the time. None of them were told about the agreement until it was signed. Assistant U.S. Attorney Dexter Lee later wrote that the victims were thus not told that the USAO had entered into a non-prosecution agreement with Epstein until after it was signed. The agreement itself contained a provision that reads like a confession in its own impropriety. Why is it saying James Patterson? Interesting. The parties anticipate that none of this will be a part of any public record. It is also required that the government notify Epstein before responding to any FOIA requests, meaning that Epstein had the right to block public access to the government that let him walk. What the fuck, bro? But here's what I keep coming back to. If Alan Dershowitz wrote the language that immunized any potential co-conspirators and a sworn court filing alleges that he was an eyewitness to the abuse, then who else was protected by those words that we still don't know about? Who do you think was the real target of the blanket immunity clause? Do you think that it was a person? Do you think that it was a country? A president? A group of people? Jeffrey Epstein did not simply collect powerful friends. He collected memberships in the most elite, invitation-only institutions on the planet. And the files reveal that he was obsessed with the idea of secret societies, both real and the imagined ones. Epstein was a member of the Trilateral Commission and the Council of Foreign Relations, two of the most exclusive and influential policy organizations in the world. His official biography, found in multiple documents, lists him as a member of the Trilateral Commission, the Council of Foreign Relations, the New York Academy of Science, and the former Rockefeller University board member. What? Right there. It's right there on the Institute of International Education. Mr. Epstein is a member of the Trilateral Commission, the Council of Foreign Relations, the New York Academy of Science, and a former Rockefeller University board member. He's also active in the Santa Fe Institute Theoretical Biology Initiative at the Institute of Advanced Study, the Quantum Gravity Program at the University of Pennsylvania. It also sits on the Mind, Brain, and Bee Advisory Committee at Harvard. He has philanthropic affiliations, include both the Wexner Foundation and COUQ Foundation. What the hell, bro? He was also actively involved in the Academy of, he was also actively involved, like I said, in the Santa Fe Institute. It's pretty crazy. It's a pretty long rap sheet, right? It seems to me as if this motherfucker was connected everywhere. Maybe we can get, make a little bit of connections to these like secret societies and these like elite groups that are attempting to control the planet and make decisions that affect everybody, bro. What about this one? Oh, it's the same thing. The Trilateral Commission membership lists from 2003 in April found in the Epstein files reads like a who's who of global power. There's Henry Kissinger, Madeleine Albright, Vernon Jordan, Paul Wolfowitz, David Gergen, Richard Holbrooke, Carla Hills, George Soros Associates, the Betchel family, Conrad Black, Stanley Fisher, John Bryan, which is the CEO of Sara Lee. There's more. There's more. That's all. There's more of them. There's more of them. There's more. There's more. There's more. Jorgen Fichstein, which is the Deutsche Bank, the CEOs of Xerox, Kodak, and Coca-Cola. More and more and more. So many names of all these people. But Epstein's interest in secret societies went deeper than membership in policy councils. An email from January 11th, 2015, forwarded to Epstein from a woman named Michelle Riley, opens a window into the kind of thinking Epstein entertained. Responding to Epstein's request for fun projects, Riley wrote, "What about a new Rosicrucianism of sorts? Like a Jejune Institute style blurred reality fiction negging of your enemies would be pretty damn fun. What are your thoughts about funding and constructing your own intelligence agency?" What the fuck, bro? Your own intelligence agency? Like the Jeffrey Epstein's very own CIA? Crazy. The Rosicrucians are one of the oldest esoteric secret societies in Western history, an occult order that claims roots in ancient mysticism and has fascinated conspiracy theorists for centuries. The proposal for the new Rosicrucianism, combined with funding a private intelligence agency, was sent to a convicted sex offender who had already been investigated for trafficking, bro. You can just go ahead and drop "We got this, Team Human" in the comments if you can, bro, because this shit gets deep, homie. Okay, so Riley suggested an exclusive silence salon sort of thing at a place like Esalen or maybe on Little St. James, Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, for experimentation with philosophers and scientists examining physiological stuff while considering artificial intelligence and estopimology. The same email concluded with, "High-profile island orgies also independently come to mind, but I have a strong suspicion that you already have that covered." Disgusting. Disgusting. And the FBI files revealed that Epstein's little black book, as described by a confidential human source, contained annotations that go beyond the mere contact information. The source described as a 95-page photocopy with names circled and the word "witness" handwritten next to them, and 2 handwritten pages listed things like John Luke Brunel, scout for young females, Secret Service personnel escorting Mr. Barak Ehud, Mr. Ehud Barak, which is the former Prime Minister of Israel, on Jeffrey Epstein's page. Pages 93 and 94 listed 35 female names, only individuals under Visitor's Massage in Palm Beach. Dang. A source wrote directly to prosecutors, "I suspect Robert, Ghislaine, and Jeffrey were all Mossad agents trying to blackmail leaders." Whoa, this is getting crazy, huh? I suspect Robert, Ghislaine, and Jeffrey were all Mossad agents trying to blackmail leaders into political and the financial world. The source noted at the end of Epstein's second black book, an organizational chart details his East 65th Street operation with potential co-conspirators and the physical location of the apartment for models. Let's see here. Where is this apartment for models? Is it in New York? Is it the one that is it the one that Candace is talking about, bro? Because I don't see it on this specific document. It's on East 65th Street. Oh, yeah, that's the address for his little place. Dang. The same document chain reveals that a researcher had built a huge file with everyone that knew about Epstein and did nothing, and mentioned Operation Mockingbird, the CIA's infamous domestic propaganda program in connection with the cover-up. Crazy. Paraguay, that's a country, right? Interesting. Epstein cultivated mystery. Like magazine profiles found in the files described him as a mysterious man without attachment. He had no wife. He had no children. He had no boss. Yet he attracted all these rich and powerful famous people. One reporter noted, he is this mysterious Great Gatsby figure. He likes people to think that he is very rich, and he cultivates them cultivates this air of aloofness. In his Paris apartment, 10,000 square feet on Avenue Foch, there was a stuffed baby elephant in his living room, and the single book on his bedside table was Lolita, a paperback copy of the Marquise de Sades, Marquise de Sades, The Misfortunes of Virtue, that was spotted on his desk. Weird, bro. Why would he have like a little kid's book, bro? Like a stuffed baby elephant. That's what I don't get. I mean, I understand. I do understand, but you know what I mean? So if someone proposed founding, right, like a new Rosicrucianism on his private island, Epstein had organized a chart in his little black book mapping his operation, and he kept like items or totems from this operation. Was this all like a performance or a calculated thing that was designed to make people afraid of what they did not know, bro? Or was Epstein actually running something that looked like a secret society more than it was actually like a trafficking ring? What do you think really happened on Little St. James? Do you think that the temple was like part of a secret society and like a religion, and that's like what the temple is? Or do you think that he was just like a weird pedophile that was just into weird things and had interests? I don't know. So here's where we get to the 12th floor, the 12th hole, bro. Or the Empire of Control, the 12th floor. The operation itself was not merely a trafficking ring. It was a surveillance and intelligence apparatus disguised as a social network. A witness statement in the files describes the inner workings of Les Wexner's Victoria's Secret empire and Epstein's role inside of it. Wexner, the billionaire founder of L Brands, who had given Epstein power of attorney over his financial affairs, ran a compound where often Wexner would have models who could not have been over 18 years old due to private viewings for him and Epstein. The models wore swimsuits. Some of them were in lingerie. Then there was the 12th floor of Leslie Wexner's building. Nobody was allowed to go in there. No one could explain why. A witness described an incident where she and another stylist were dressing mannequins with bras and panties spread across the floor. While they were bent over, it felt like someone was watching them. They stood up and turned around, and Epstein and Wexner were standing there watching them. Wexner asked if that's what their rooms had looked like. The same witness said that there were pictures of all the models who went to the houses of Wexner and Ed Razak, the late Victoria's Secret marketing executive, with contact information. And everyone at the party, and at every party, there was always a woman who did not know that was around and seemed to be in charge of models. Okay, there was always a woman who she did not know that was around and seemed to be in charge of all the models. Dang, was that Erica Kirk, bro? Crazy. I don't know. It doesn't give the name in the files, bro, but it's kind of crazy that Candace is talking about this, bro. Now, if you've seen the disposition that Leslie Wexner did, bro, you know that Wexner, just like all of the rest of them, just like Bill Gates is doing right now, he claimed that he was a victim of Epstein's deception. But if he was a victim of Epstein's deception, bro, how are there just so many connections to all of this stuff, bro? Okay, so this is where the trail of breadcrumbs moves from the runway into the world of dynastic finance, and where the documents reveal a relationship that the headlines just seem to have missed. On one afternoon on May 27th, 2010, Jeffrey Epstein was emailing. Does that sound right? Emailing? That sounded weird to me for some reason. He was emailing furiously from his BlackBerry. Y'all remember those weird-ass keyboard phones before we had these iPhones and these Googles and Samsungs? He had heard that a man named Kenneth Starr, not the independent counsel who investigated Bill Clinton, but a different Kenneth Starr, a New York financial advisor who had been arrested. Starr, Epstein wrote, was Lady Rothschild financial advisor. And Starr, Epstein claimed, told the IRS that she had done some naughties. What? I'm told with certainty that Mr. Kenneth Starr was Lady Rothschild's financial advisor in the past, and he has told the IRS that she has done some naughties. What the fuck does that mean? You've done some naughties. The Lady Rothschild in question was connected to the Rothschild dynasty, bruh. And Epstein was tracking a financial scandal involving the family. He instructed his contacts to feed the story to Sharon Churcher at the Daily Mail and to the News of the World. He named the company at the center of it First Mark Holdings, Inc., advised by Kenneth Starr, with Harry Kissinger and Conrad Black as directors. One of Epstein's correspondents replied with a telling detail. First Mark was the thing she asked me to become a director of, with Black Kissinger. Right here. Boom. Because she had done some naughties. Crazy. So it seems as if Epstein was not just connected to the Rothschild, He was inside their financial machinery, bro. 3 years later, the relationship even got more personal. In September 2013, Epstein was exchanging emails directly with Ariane de Rothschild, the wife of Baron Benjamin de Rothschild, a central figure in the Rothschild banking dynasty. The correspondence is warm, familiar, and densely packed with high-level introductions. Ariane wrote to Epstein, "Dear Jeff, Oliver is to coordinate these various meetings with you, but when will I see you?" Epstein replied with the list. Ehud Barak, Jess Staley, Josh Romo. Let's schedule. Ehud Barak, like I said before, is the former Prime Minister of Israel and Minister of Defense. Jess Staley is the CEO of Barclays. Josh Ramo is the former editor of The Time magazine and Kissinger's business partner. They scheduled breakfast at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse on September 23rd, 2013 at 9:15 a.m. 4 days later, she invited him to dinner at her home in Paris, 10 Rue de l'Elysée, in the 8th arrondissement. After that breakfast, Ariane wrote, "Dear Jeff, it was great to see you yesterday. I await you Friday in Paris." Epstein replied with a characteristic opacity. "I prefer settings which allow a quiet, sincere exchange of ideas." Sorry for the schedule screw up. He also tried to set up a meeting that connects the Rothschilds to the highest level of international finance. Summers and Barak meeting on Saturday. Any thoughts? He is asking Ariane de Rothschild for her input on a meeting between Larry Summers, the U.S. former Treasury Secretary, and Ehud Barak. She responded with a detailed business proposal for how Summers could work with her bank. Bro. On June 20th, 2013, Epstein wrote to Ariane directly, "Would you find it amusing to share dinner with Woody Allen and wife? He's filming again in France and will be staying with me." She had written to him earlier that same day, "Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with me. I truly appreciate it, as you well know how few people do so and have the courage of their opinions. Please let me know when you next come to Paris and we'll continue our discussions with a good bottle of Bordeaux." But the darkest document in the Rothschild thread on this is October 17th, 2013. Epstein wrote to one of his contacts, "Can you travel to Europe for 2 or 3 weeks to be the person for the Rothschild family?" The recipient, whose name is redacted, replied, "Is this Lynn from Palm Beach years ago?" Epstein corrected her, "No, Ariane Rothschild." Dang. The woman in response seemed as if she's kind of giddy, right, bro? She's like, "Okay, this opportunity is so perfect, dear Jeffrey. I wish I could hug you." Another version of the same exchange, it says, "Yes, when? Please call me as soon as you can." A full year later, on November 3rd, 2014, the same woman wrote to Epstein a year later, "My Ariane B, interested in my help now?" And then there's another one. Sorry. Let me go here. She's coming Saturday to New York, he says. Epstein, a convicted sex offender who had already served time for procuring minors for sex, who was recruiting and placing women in positions inside the Rothschild family personal staff. The woman's own question is this Lynn from Palm Beach years ago? Suggests this was someone from Epstein's Palm Beach network, where his recruitment for underage girls was centered. It seems a lot more dark and deep and complex than what we've been led on to believe. If you know anything about the Rothschilds or heard the word Rothschild, you've probably associated with them with like the Illuminati or like secret societies, bro. They're just like the oldest banking system in the world. And there's only a few countries on the planet that don't have a Rothschild central banking system. Now here's a little part of the Epstein stuff that you may not have known. Let me get some Team Humans in the chat if you are still here. Or if you might be seeing this later. Okay, so the Rothschilds represent the legitimate face of Epstein's network, but the documents also reveal an underworld dimension that is far, far darker, bro. An FBI confidential human source report from November 2017, classified secret/non-foreign, describes Epstein's compound in New Mexico where he lured and video recorded underage women. He had a private island. The source described Epstein as President Vladimir Putin's wealth manager, who provided the same service for Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe. Dang. The same source reported that Epstein employed a personal hacker, an Italian citizen born in Calabria who developed zero-day exploits and offensive cyber tools. This individual established the Saudi government's cyber surveillance program and sold a zero-day exploit to Hezbollah. He was the first person to hack and find vulnerabilities in BlackBerry and iOS. That's crazy as fuck. What the fuck, bro? Hezbollah, bro? So wait a second. Jeffrey Epstein is described as Vladimir Putin's wealth manager, who is also hiring a hacker to that also established the Saudi Arabia's government, their cyber surveillance program, who also sold this same platform to Hezbollah. This was also the first person that hacked and was able to find vulnerabilities in BlackBerries and in iOS. It seems like they're all pretty connected, bro. Can we just get some it's all connected? Get a little head count. We got 4 over here, 11 over here, 9 over here. What's up, Team Human? I love you guys so much. Thank y'all for being here right now live. Thank you if you're here seeing this later. Weird. Epstein was running a private cyber intelligence operation alongside his sex trafficking operation, and that operation had tentacles into state-sponsored hacking, Middle Eastern intelligence, and the highest levels of Russian financial power. Then there is the Sinaloa cartel connection. An FBI intake report dated June 21st, 2021, the document is a tip from a source who claimed to have been part of the Sinaloa cartel and who worked closely with Epstein and Maxwell. The source stated he was able to walk away from the cartel due to his status with Epstein and Maxwell. What the fuck? Most of the time you're not even, you can't leave that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, jump in, jump out. You don't leave ever, bro. You're connected for life, bro. So let's read that again. A member of the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most violent drug trafficking organizations on earth, walked away from the cartel not by flipping on them, not by being killed, not by running away, but because of his association with Epstein and Maxwell gave him protection that the cartel respected. Shit, dude. That's a heavy hitter right there, homie. Okay, says here, the same source had recordings of Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell discussing marketing strategies for high-profile sex parties at Donald Trump's golf course. He had mailed those recordings to a lawyer in the Cayman Islands. On the recordings, Trump stated he was aware of the underage sex parties and charged the house money of the golf course to fund the sex parties. That's fucked up. The most chilling detail in this intake report is at the end. The tipster witness, Robin Leach, the young famous British journalist and the host of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, strangle a young girl during a sex party. He claims she is buried beneath the 19th hole at the Donald Trump golf course. That's fucked up, bro. The report also notes the source is aware of 3 separate occasions in which girls were, at the end of the page, ends there. Dude, a Sinaloa cartel member walked away from the cartel because Epstein's name protected him. And the same source claims that a body is buried in a specific location on a former president, current president's golf course, bro. The FBI actually logged this June 21 of 2021. Do you think anybody went and looked behind the 19th hole? I don't know, bro. Seems pretty insane, bro. This is the section where we talk about Mossad. Because it says that one source wrote directly to prosecutors that I suspect Robert Ghislaine and Jeffrey were all Mossad agents trying to blackmail the politician in the financial world, right? And then we come over here and there's another document in here, another FD-1023 from April 2020. The document's an interview with a source who expressed concern that Jeffrey Epstein was an Israeli spy. The source said Steve Bannon and Epstein may have had a business relationship and Epstein paid Bannon with money from the Israelis. The source referenced technology called Stingray, cell site simulators used for surveillance, and claimed that Bannon may have utilized the technology to get information out of the White House. I'm not telling you what to believe, bro. I only just have this platform called Web that just allows me to compile all applicable information regarding whatever topic I want. And I just ask some simple questions to get all of this information. And this is just simply a synopsis and an analysis of the files that the government had classified prior and then gave to us. Shout out Web, bro. We wouldn't be able to even talk about this stuff if Kevin is a human, Ian Carroll, and the Web team, the buyer team, they created this thing. So now if we get into the same document chain, it reveals that a researcher had built a huge file with everyone that knew about Epstein and did nothing, and mentioned Operation Mockingbird, like we said. If we come over here, another document. It's the same document. Nope. Another document mentions a massive and complex matrix involving CCP Epstein congressman. It was forwarded to Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene, suggesting a connection to Chinese intelligence as well. That's insane. There's so much here, bro, to really think about, bro. Like connected to the cartel, connected to the Rothschild, connected to Israel and Mossad, connected to our politicians here in America. He's a sex trafficker. He's also a pedophile. He was like into scientists and consciousness and like artificial intelligence and DNA and epigenetics and altering the human genome. He was funding vaccine research and all sorts of things, bro. It's so much to just like digest, homie. It seems as if Epstein genuinely did have his tentacles in all aspects of power and control on the planet. If you can agree, can you just comment, I agree, or 100, or however you want to affirm that you agree? Because it just seems that as we keep reading this, that it's obvious to me, bro, that like this shit's way darker and way deeper and way connected into every single aspect of the human life on this planet, because it's in every fucking country, every continent, every government, bro. So now if we get into the victims, what control actually looked like, bro. Behind the geopolitical intrigue, the documents contain the victims' accounts of what Epstein's control actually meant in practice. One victim, abused over several years, starting at 18, was brought into massages to participate in sexual acts with other girls. Epstein controlled every aspect of her life, her physical appearance, her weight, her clothing. This control included forcing multiple plastic surgeries, forcing BDSM, referring to her as a sex slave, choking her, and throwing her down a set of stairs. We have another document that says another victim was drugged with heroin and ecstasy in her early teens. Her groomer told her that it was a contest to see which of the girls would be noticed by Epstein. That's fucking disgusting, bro. That's disgusting, bro. Oh, man. O'Malley. The FBI's own criminal complaint in 2019. New York case describes victims as young as 14 being told to partially or fully undress for massages that escalated to Epstein groping them digitally, penetrating them. How can you do that digitally? And then self-pleasuring in front of them. He used sex toys. He paid them $200 to $1,000 in cash. It's fucking so sad, bro. Oh, it makes me angry, bro. Now here's what was never investigated, bro. The recordings are in the Cayman Islands, bro. The tipster that mailed them to a lawyer, which was Alan Dershowitz, supposedly is what they said, right? The FBI intake was logged the same day, but there was no follow-up on the documents, no evidence of the recordings ever being received. A body that is allegedly buried at a specific location on a golf course of a former and future president. There was no warrant. There was no search. There was no field interview, but the file was submitted to the government. There was a blanket immunity provision where any potential co-conspirators, like we said before, his sweetheart deal wasn't just about the people involved. It was about everyone that has been, was then, and will ever be. Implying that it's never going to end, bro. It's still going on to this day, right now. And if those people get arrested, they fall under this blanket immunity plea for any potential co-conspirators. Right there, bro. It even included Alan Dershowitz, bro, who negotiated the plea deal. It includes Sarah Kellen, who was a lieutenant in Epstein's army, just like Maxwell was, just like Leslie Groff was, bro. And then we have to talk about the connection to the Rothschilds, bro. Epstein was placing women inside of the Rothschilds' family personal staff in October of 2013. 7 years after his first arrest, 2 years after his release from jail. He was coordinating meetings between Ariana de Rothschild and Ehud Barak, Larry Summers, Woody Allen, and Joshua Ramo. He was sharing intelligence about financial scandals, including the Rothschild entities, and directing press campaigns against them. And then you have to talk about Epstein being a member of the Trilateral Commission, the Council of Foreign Relations, that he kept a black book that doubled as an organizational chart of his operations. He received proposals for like a new Rosicrucianism, which is like basically reviving some ancient occult order combined with a private intelligence agency. And then he kept a copy of that on his desk in the Lolita on his nightstand and a stuffed elephant in his apartment in Paris. And then he had so many connections to Israel and the Mossad and Putin's financial network, the Sinaloa cartel, the hacker that was the first hacker to get into BlackBerry and iOS. It just seems so crazy to me, bro. It just seems so hard to comprehend that with the information that the government provided us so that we could try and piece this together, that I don't think they really expected us to be able to piece this together like this. I don't think that when they released the files that Ian Carroll and Kevin is a Human and the people who created Web, I don't think they thought that someone would be able to do that. I don't think they anticipated the power of AI and coding when it comes to like building platforms and integrating the AI systems that we already have to actually help humans. Because in my personal opinion, bro, Web, that's a plus for Team Human, bro. Because without it, do you know how long it would take to go through all of the files to be able to even come up with all of these connections, bro? I appreciate you for being here. Until next time, I love you, Team Human. Okay, just kidding. I'm not going nowhere. That was all being clipped for later. Homie. That whole Epstein dive was all being clipped for later. But that's pretty insane, huh? That's pretty insane, bro. I'm not going nowhere, homie. Nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. If you're here, can you say, hey, girl, what's good? What's up, dude? Hey, that was a pretty good one then. If you guys like really were thinking like I was just going to dip on you like that. Y'all think that I was just going to like, I was like going to just like drop all of that information on you and say, peace out, dude. Peace out, dude. Oh, yeah, you see that? Oh, what's up, dude? I can give you balloons. Want some balloons? What's up? We can go with balloons. Okay. Ooh. Hell yeah. What's up? You guys like those cool little freaking camera effects, bro? I can do like the hand heart, bro. I'm pretty sure if it gets it right, I can do like a thumbs up. There should be a thumbs up one. I'm pretty sure. Thumbs up. Can we do thumbs down? Thumbs down. We can do like the one like that. It's like a balloons. You know what I'm saying? I think the 2 is like the freaking, it's the confetti. Ooh. Hell yeah, that's pretty sick, huh? Dang, we got a gang in here, bro. Okay, so we got 5 on Facebook. Facebook, what's up, dude? Dude, we got 10 people on YouTube, bro, and 10 people up on Twitch, bro. In total, we got like 25, 26, 27, 6, 7. Just kidding. We got a whole crowd of people up in here, bro. This is Sparta. I don't know why I felt like saying that. All right, guys. All righty. We're going to finish this last little 20 minutes of the Khazarian Mafia God Eaters documentary, bro. And then we'll see where we go from there. We're probably going to do some breathing, bro, because bro. Dude, can you just like imagine, bro? Imagine how much power Jeffrey Epstein has, bro. If the Sinaloa cartel is just going to let some fucking dude leave the cartel because Jeffrey Epstein's like, nah, he's good. He doesn't have to work for you anymore. And the cartel's like, yes, sir. Crazy. Crazy motherfucker. How are y'all doing today? Apple Juice is over on YouTube. Hell yeah. What's up, Facebook? What's good, bro? Okay, you ready, guys, to get into this? Khazarian Mafia. If you guys haven't been here before, unfortunately, sucks for you, I guess, to say, because you might not really know exactly everything that we've watched so far. We've been watching this documentary at the end of every stream, piece by piece, for the last 5 days. That's really how I've kind of structured the streams, is at the end of the stream. We do some learning together, bro. You know what I'm saying? We did some learning just a second ago with that Epstein bread trail. You know what I'm saying? There are so many breadcrumbs right there, bro. It's called God Eaters. You guys ready for this? So this is what I'll do. I'm just gonna backtrack just a little. Okay. Right there. And so you kind of gather where we're at. But it's going to keep playing it.
They swore eternal revenge on the American colonists, just as they had when the Russians and their allies crushed Khazaria in AD 1000. The Rothschild KM attempts to retake America in 1812 on behalf of the Khazarian Mafia, but fails, once again because of Russian interference. This failure enraged the Rothschild KM, and they once again plot eternal revenge against both the Russians and the American colonists, and plan to infiltrate and hijack both nations, and asset strip, tyrannize, and then mass murder both nations and their populace. Continuing on, we've been at this for a while. The Rothschilds and their English oligarchy that surrounded them plot ways to retake America, and this became their main obsession. Their favorite plan is to set up an American central bank, featuring Babylonian money magic, usury, illegal taxation, aka theft, and secret counterfeiting.
Although geographically separate, the city-states of London, the Vatican, and the District of Columbia are one interlocking empire called Empire of the City. The flag of Washington's District of Columbia has 3 red stars, one for each city-state in the 3-city empire. This corporate empire of 3 city-states controls the world economically through London's inner city, militarily through the District of Columbia, and spiritually through the Vatican. The Constitution for the District of Columbia operates under a tyrannical Roman law known as Lex Fori, which bears no resemblance to the U.S. Constitution. When Congress passed the Act of 1871, it created a separate corporate government for the District of Columbia. This treasonous act allowed the District of Columbia to operate as a corporation outside the original Constitution of the United States and outside...
What? Are you guys hearing that? What the fuck? Let me run that back. What is she saying about the District of Columbia is like different and doesn't have to follow the same rules as the rest of the country? I don't know. Let's run that back.
And spiritually through the Vatican. The Constitution for the District of Columbia operates under a tyrannical Roman law known as Lex Fori, which bears no resemblance to the U.S. Constitution. When Congress passed the Act of 1871, it created a separate corporate government for the District of Columbia. This treasonous act allowed the District of Columbia to operate as a corporation outside the original Constitution of the United States and outside of the best interests of American citizens. Sobering study of the signed treaties and charters between Britain and the United States exposes a shocking truth. The United States has always been, and still is, a British Crown colony. King James I was famous not for just changing the Bible into the King James Version, but for signing the first Charter of Virginia in 1606.
I just gotta say, he also did write a book on demonology as well, King James.
That charter granted America's British forefathers a license to settle and colonize America. The charter also guaranteed that future kings and queens of England would have sovereign authority over all the citizens and colonized land in America stolen from the Indians. After America declared its independence from Great Britain, the Treaty of 1783 was signed. That treaty specifically identifies the King of England as the Prince of the United States and contradicts the belief that America won the War of Independence. Although King George III of England gave up most of his claims over his American colonies, he kept his right to continue receiving payment for his business venture of colonizing America. If America had really won the War of Independence, they would never have agreed to pay debts and reparations to the King of England. When Congress passed the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, the U.S. President was made subservient to the King of England. The 13th Amendment is called the Title of Nobility Amendment and forbids U.S. presidents and their officials from using royal titles like king or prince or baron. For some mysterious reason, the 13th Amendment, which was ratified in 1810, no longer appears on current copies of the Constitution. America's blood-soaked War of Independence against the British bankrupted America and turned its citizens into permanent debt slaves of the king.
What? Do you think that we got... That's what happened, bro? But do you think that we turned into slaves? Debt slaves? I don't necessarily believe all of this stuff about the Constitution, especially because it was quite hard to read all of it, you know? I'm going to have to go back and hit some key words on the act and stuff, but, I mean, it did resonate at the end where the whole goal was to turn us into debt slaves. She.
In the War of 1812, the British torched and burned to the ground the White House and all U.S. government buildings and destroyed ratification records of the U.S. Constitution. 1 century later, a corrupt U.S. Congress committed the biggest theft in world history. They passed Paul Warburg's Federal Reserve Act in 1913, handing over America's gold and silver reserves and total control of America's economy to the Rothschild banksters.
In 1913, the Rothschild KM was able to establish a beachhead by bribing crooked, treasonous members of Congress to pass the illegal, unconstitutional Federal Reserve Act on Christmas Eve without a required quorum. The act was then signed by crooked, bought-off President Woodrow Wilson, number 28, who was a traitor to America like the members...
What's up, everybody? Release and Transform just got here. What's up, Santarique? We got 14 people up on Twitch. What's up? What's up, dude? We got 11 on YouTube. We got 5 on Facebook, bro. How are you doing? What's up, dude? How's your day going? What's the vibe where you're at? Has it been chaotic and full of static? Has it been chill, peaceful, and calm? Peace out, honeybees. Mine's been all right. I've been pretty productive today, I would say. You know what I'm saying? I knocked out some videos this morning. I'm up on the live stream. I freaking got dinner ready in the slow cooker. We're having like some cracked chicken up in the slow cooker. I went to the store and got all that stuff and came home and made dinner because, you know, sometimes it's just good on the soul to just, you know, my wife cooks dinner for me like every single night, bro. You know what I mean? After she goes to work, bro, she's a blessing, bro. She's a blessing, bro. Oh, my mic's down, bro. Oh, man. Basically, what I'm saying is I slow cook some food, bro. I slow cook some food because I try my best. Like, my wife does go work at a job, you know what I mean? So, like, I'm sure even if it's a little bit, and, you know, for her not to have to come home and cook, I know that helps her. I like to have the house cleaned up and tidied for when she walks in so she doesn't feel like she's coming into a chaotic space to where she's obligated to like clean and stuff. You know what I mean? She goes to work all day long and I sit here every day, day in, day out, trying to build an empire for my family and a community of people that eventually the end goal, bro, is to buy a huge portion of land, bro, and literally go there and create our own little thing. You know what I mean? Peace out, honeybees. Love ya. But let's get back into this. Shout out Queen Trip. We love you. Team Human loves you, Queen Trip.
Of Congress who voted for it. And look, I found pictures of Woodrow Wilson. Look at the handshake. Look at the handshake. That's a Masonic handshake. That's not a normal handshake. Look, he's giving the guy practically his wrist. These are Masonic handshakes. He's a bought man. Wilson was a bought man. The KM put an illegal, unconstitutional tax system in place in order to make sure that Americans would have to pay for their high-level USG spending, approved by a bought-off, crooked Congress and presidential puppets put into place by corrupt KM campaign finance. It's easy for the KM to garner enough money to elect anyone they want because when you control a bank that is a secret major counterfeiter, you have all the money made for you that you desire. Absolute corruption corrupts. Absolutely. Doesn't it, though? Just look at Rome.
Most Americans still believe that the Fed or Federal Reserve is the government. It is not. The Fed is a privately owned banking system whose majority Class A shareholders are the Rothschilds, Warburgs, Kuhn and Loeb, J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, Israel Seif, and the Lehman Brothers. This private banking cartel is the Fed and is never audited and never pays taxes. They print and design America's money, which displays their symbols of an Egyptian pyramid, a Masonic all-seeing eye, and the words "In God We Trust."
At about the same time that they created their illegal usury tax system in America, they also bribed members of Congress to approve the Internal Revenue Service, 1862, which is their private collection agency incorporated in Puerto Rico. And I'm going to show you something here with this little chart. Soon afterwards, they set up the Federal Bureau investigation to protect their banksters, to serve their cover-up needs and prevent them from ever being prosecuted for their child sacrifice rituals or pedophile networks, and to also serve as a covert intelligence operation on their behalf.
Okay. So I got to check in with you guys. You guys still here, bro? Regardless, so the reason I like to learn with you guys on stream, right, is because, to be honest, not everything necessarily resonates with me, and I'm not necessarily going to believe everything that this individual or any individual says just because they say it and they show pictures of things. That's where discernment comes in, bro. That's where discernment comes in. That's where your own gut instinct comes in. What's up, Cheryl? You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, Jay Smooth. But I don't take anything at face value. You shouldn't, just because we have conversations up on here about all sorts of crazy stuff. It's all allegedly, bruh, because I don't really fucking know. I'm probably just like you. In fact, I am. We're both humans, bro. We're both humans out here just trying to fucking figure out what it even means to like be human, bro. Like, they didn't tell us about this energetic fucking reality we live in that's all like sound, vibration, and frequency. They didn't teach us that when we were growing up. They didn't teach us about the intentional deception and propaganda that majority of these institutions across the planet are highly implicated in influencing things that affect every human on the planet. They didn't teach me about emotional regulation, spiritual intelligence, coping skills. It wasn't taught to any of us, because I'm sure if you're just like me, or maybe you're not and don't agree with everything I just said, and that's okay too. We can have conversation about complex ideas that trigger emotions in you and thoughts and provoke strong opinions about things, and still have the conversation. And even if after the conversation we don't necessarily change our opinions, how do you think we're supposed to evolve and expand our conscious minds and the information that we retain and who we are and what we are and how we are and the belief systems that we allow to control majority of our choices if we can't have open dialogue about it? Can I get an amen? I think that we just have to have conversation. I don't think that for 1 second we shouldn't be able to talk about any topic that there should be talked about. I think that I shouldn't be labeled an anti-Semite if I'm doing research into anything that regards the Jewish culture, the Jewish people, the Jewish religion, the Jewish country, the Jewish history. I also don't think that I should be labeled as a racist or white supremacist if I look into the alleged rabbit hole that Martin Luther King was a CIA asset who they thought was being jeopardized by the Communist Party. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be labeled as hateful because I say words that reflect my emotions. Words shouldn't be able to have that much power over you. And if you are the type of individual that allows words to control you, I just want to tell you that I'm here for you, bro. And if you have any questions along your healing journey, I'm more than willing to answer them, or try my best to, at least. Because if you're allowing words to control you and dictate your thoughts and your choices and your actions, you're not as far along as we need you to be, bro. We need you to like get past the fact that maybe a conflicting idea causes you to get angry. Can you make a connection? If you're that individual, can you make connections that potentially the programming is taking over at that moment? I'll tell you straight out, I'm a fool. I got straight fooled, and I voted for Trump, bro. Do I regret that? No, I don't regret anything. I make every decision I try to make is with a level head and with the best of information available to me at the time. Can my ideas and opinions evolve? Sure. Would I vote for him again? Hell fucking nah. Shit, homie. Hell nah. Fuck no. Hell nah. But just sometimes there are individuals out there, bro. You probably resonate and maybe even know some of them, that even if I said I voted for Trump, they automatically hate my guts. Even if beforehand, even if they've heard that I never voted and ever was interested in politics ever before I did that. We have to have more grace as humans and more compassion for other humans just trying to figure out the same type of experience that you are. Being eternal soul that has chosen to have a human experience at this specific time. If you feel like you should be allowed to evolve and change your opinions as your understanding of information expands, right? Because that's what happens when you learn. Your mind and your ideas and your opinions, they expand. There's specific neural network that fires to each other when you are learning something that's different than any other time in your life. Your brain literally has different brain waves, like frequencies, like gamma, theta, beta, different brain waves signifying different states of minds, different states of consciousness. That's why it's so crazy to me earlier when we talked about Melania Trump and these AI robots becoming their teachers. Children are in a theta brainwave for the first 7 years of their life. Can you just take a second with me real quick? And just take a second and step back and say, how much does a human learn in the first 7 years? Dude, really think about it. In the first 7 years of their life, they're in just like straight download mode. How to talk, how to walk, what's right, what's wrong, emotions. What's this rumbling in my belly? Does it mean if I'm hungry or if I have to poo? They're just in this different theta state, bro, where they're receptive to everything, energies. You know, you really think that there's a coincidence that there's just thousands and thousands of people talking or even experienced or know of babies being in a room and just like looking randomly at the wall or into a corner and start laughing or just start crying all of a sudden. There's so many things that's happening during the first 7 years of a human life. So it seems just a little bit more dystopian to me that the way that it seems that the elites want to go is to have these programmed, connected, straight to the grid AI robots that aren't just a companion like, hey, ChatGPT, how many cups is in a fucking pound or whatever. I don't even know if cups and pounds don't even go together. Maybe I need to ask it myself. But you know what I'm saying? It's like the homie was saying is that immediately when kids go to school, they understand order and hierarchy and authority. So they very quickly come to understand who is the authority in this building. It's the people who are sitting behind that desk. It's the ones that push the buttons and call and do all of that stuff, right? Can you see the cool Be a Nice Human right there, bro? I got the trippy bear paw. I'm a hippie, bro. I wear tie-dye so much, bro. Tie-dyes is a hippie's uniform. I got to represent every day. If you can't already tell by the smoke around me and the dreadlocks. Jeez, bro, this coffee be making me burp, bro. But yeah, we're here. We're up in it. We're up in it. We be making some tie-dyes. We can make some tie-dyes. All right, guys. Let's finish this out. You guys ready to finish out this documentary?
What we have Babylonian money magic here. We have the collection agency is established. 1862. Got to pay for the war. Got to pay for the war, folks. Got to pay for the war. And if we don't pay for the war, those Brits, they're going to come and get you. They're going to come and get you. Right? Do you see a theme happening? Then they established the Department of Justice. Yes, in 1908, Bonaparte establishes the FBI. Bonaparte was bought off, just like Napoleon was bought off. And this is going to be the enforcement agency that will guard their crimes that they make with the United States Federal Reserve System. So the FBI was not set up to protect you and to bring about justice. It's a criminal justice system. It is justice for the criminals. So
he did say something that I forgot to touch on. He said justice for the criminals, bro. I don't really care what your political beliefs are. If you're a good human, we can be friends, bro. And for people that see me in the street, bro, I think I surprise a lot of them because, like, this last weekend I went to this park up in Salt Lake and went to this little circle of drums. And someone that follows me ran into me, bro, and they try to reach out and shake my hand. And I'm just like, can I give you a hug, bro? You know what I'm saying? I'm that type of dude. So it doesn't really matter to me, okay? I do value all human life, so I am not necessarily, I don't necessarily agree with abortion. That's like the one thing I could stand with. Like it's case by case, and I don't think that government should be involved in deciding whether or not you should or shouldn't do it. But I just stand on the side of Team Human. Like I value all human life, okay? Except for the pedophiles. The pedophiles seem to be somehow directly implicated and connected to like whoever is making the final decisions on if they go to jail or not, you know? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, bruh? Like, why is it that someone that gets caught with weed goes to jail for a long time, bro? Why is it that someone steals money? You steal their money? Oh, yeah, that's all they fucking care about. You steal their money, you're going away for a long time. But you diddle a kid. Dang, you're just probably going to jail, bruh. Where you're like protected. Only for a little bit. And then you're going to get like probation, bro. And if the community's lucky, then they're going to force you to, register as a sex offender. But a lot of times that, they get these plea deals, especially if they have money, like Jeffrey Epstein did. They get these crazy plea deals, plea deals where they don't have to register. The BYU star who was just charged with rape, yeah, his whole shit got dismissed, bro. It's kind of crazy. I don't know nothing about the case to say that he is guilty or not, but it just, it's just applicable to the fact that it just seems as if, like, I don't know, bro. I just care about the planet, bro, and I got kids, homie. You know what I mean? It'd be hard out here for a parent right now, dude. Shout out all the parents, bro. Single parents, co-parents, thriving couples, struggling single parents, struggling co-parents, whoever it is. Shout out a fucking parent right now. Because, to be honest, bro, with all this shit going around everywhere about fucking child abuse and pedophilia and all this crazy shit about them targeting our kids on specific apps with like Roblox where all the kids play and shit. Parents be out there having a rough time right now, bro. I'm telling you. Are there any parents up in here? Is there parents up in here? Who's parents? Who's got nieces and nephews, bro? Who's got like little young baby brothers or sisters, bro? Maybe not even just shout out to the parents, bro. Just shout out to fucking protecting the kids, bro. Because it doesn't really matter if you have kids or if fucking you got nieces and nephews. If you're just a solo ass person, bro, you should care about what happens to the kids, bro. Why do you think? Maybe here's a quick crazy side tangent, psyop. Why do you think all the freaking famous women that are on the left wing or the Democrat side are all like either transition their kids or fucking like have no kids like Taylor Swift and their cat ladies and shit? It's like this maybe subtle programming to like influence the emotions of like not caring about kids, because if you cared about kids, I think it's the natural human instinct for us to want to have more kids. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? It's like I mean, we all like to hump, and that's just like a natural thing that happens from humping. Whether it's like, you know what I mean? And so is it natural for us to want kids? So why are they trying to like glorify certain celebrities, and always when the celebrity gets in front of the camera, it's like they may not outright talk about their kids, but they talk about their cats. That should be the only thing that matters. Do you think in the ancient past, bro, like when we were in tribes and villages and stuff, that it was very often that kids were left alone? Nah, because there's something fucking out there in the jungle that will eat that kid. We're in the jungle, homie. We're in the jungle, homie. You agree? We're in the jungle, bro. It's a concrete jungle for most of us. There is a large portion of the planet where it's like the real ass jungle. It really is survival of the fittest. And guess what? There's a whole bunch of people that aren't fit enough to survive. Only because they don't have the information that is available to them to even know what they need to try and survive, to even know what is even threatening them. I'm willing to bet right now, bro, there's a huge portion of America, even the planet, that really had no interest really even in the whole Epstein thing. Like, yeah, he's a pedophile. He was like famous. He was connected to whatever politician that they disagree with, or whatever elite that they disagree with, but not the ones that they agree with. You know how crazy it is to even be online, bro, and actually believe and see people that will attack other people simply for the fact that they think that, what is it? You're like, okay, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton ate kids allegedly. And they're like, oh, you're a fucking MAGA. Blah, blah, blah. And then if you're like, oh, okay, well, then maybe Trump allegedly is in the Epstein files. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm fucking right. If there was burning proof in the Epstein files, the Democrats would have used it. Well, how about they're all just fucking molesting and eating kids allegedly? So that's why nobody ever gets told on. Is that too outlandish to say, bro? What if they're all allegedly, like both sides, you know? There's sin on both sides. Whatever their sexual proclivities are, whatever greed they deal with their money and their power. Maybe not all of them are pedophiles or consuming and eating children, but some of them struggle with gambling, with stocks. Some of them are immoral and are like cheat on their wife because they have certain sexual proclivities. And if I could be 100% honest with you, if we bring it in real fast. Bro, do you remember a time, or have you ever heard of a time where like the dad would go to work and he would make enough money to be able to buy a house, save up for a boat, take his kids on vacations, and the moms would stay home and do stuff around the house and take care of the kids? And that's kind of like a replication of what has and how it's been for like a lot of our history, is that, you know, there were gender roles and it was okay that there were gender roles. Can you just like even have an open mind to even think about the possibility that even the concept of there being gender roles is a psyop to create static between genders, to program the person to think that the other gender thinks that they're superior to me and that I'm not weak. Girl power. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And how would they do that? Oh, they would have to just like brainwash all the women to think that they're empowered and that they're better than men and they're just as capable as men. Why does it matter if a man, there are certain jobs that men do? Why does it matter that I'll just say it straight out. And this is what I truly 100% feel deep into my heart. Women are better caretakers for children, bro. You're telling me right now, if you had a bunch of kids and you went and took them to a daycare, bro, you would feel comfortable or more comfortable or equally comfortable going there and there's like a whole bunch of dudes you drop your kids off to versus like a whole bunch of girls? You know what I'm saying? We're all equal, bro. There's certain things about each gender that is divine. The whole universe is based off of divine feminine and divine masculine. None of this exists without both. They took the women out of the house by making them feel empowered to get jobs so that they could get to the children and then brainwash their families forever. They made it so economically it's even harder to survive now than it was then. That's why it's forced both mom and dad to have some sort of income to even be able to survive and provide for kids, which then naturally is just going to make it so people can acknowledge that there is a financial aspect to having children. And if they make it so you can barely even survive, how many people are not even going to take that path to even have kids because of the horror stories from other people that are just like, it's so expensive to have kids and diapers and all of that stuff. The brainwashing to divide us is down to our DNA, bro. It's ancestral, bro. They divide us against our skin color, bro. And then our beliefs about everything they've tried to divide us about, where it's like, here's the line. If you don't believe what I believe, you're the enemy. They did that a lot with the last few presidential elections, haven't they? We could see it during the COVID pandemic when there was so much hatred for anyone who was even questioning the official narrative about the vaccine or the virus. Just like collectively, they got so many people to like not even go to Thanksgiving or Christmas because of political views or ideas about health. We have to get back to the ability to have open conversations and have different opinions. I hope that I have provided enough evidence of the energy that I have about how open I am to have conversations about all sorts of stuff. I try not to just obsess repeatedly over about Epstein, even though I do obsess about Epstein. I try to provide a context for a whole bunch of things that I'm interested in, whether it's mental health, recovery in some sort of addiction. I have over 7 years clean and sober. I used to be an intravenous IV meth and heroin user. You know what I'm saying? I just try to hit everybody where it counts, because realistically, we just got to figure out. A lot of us we've been disconnected. The psyop is to disconnect us so we don't feel like we need anybody. When there was a period of our history where communities and tribes stuck together forever. And now everything's been so digitized to not even go out. They've disconnected us from nature, bro. They've disconnected us from our parents, from our brothers, our sisters, our friends, from God. Whatever comes to mind when I say that, because that word in itself is triggering for a lot of people, bro. A lot of people have spiritual and religious trauma and hatred and questions and animosity and resentments towards specific labels that are used for pretty much really the same thing, bro. It's just, is it the coding behind the matrix? Or is it just called source or the universe? Or is it God? Or is it many of God's incarnations? Because maybe Krishna and Buddha and Jesus, Hercules and Zeus and Odin. You know, maybe they were all just like similar things. What do you believe? You know what I mean? The psyop goes so deep. We've been separated for a long time. And I just want to figure it out, bro. I don't have any of the answers. I'll tell you what I believe, but I don't know if it's true, bro. I'm sure there's a lot of topics that I feel pretty confident in that I could have a lot of shit wrong. I want to have conversations so if I am wrong, other people can expand my range of information so I can evolve and change my understanding, because I'm just wanting truth, bro. We live in a world that's literally full of toxicity, dude. Everything is toxic. These devices are toxic for you. The food's toxic. The water's toxic. They're trying to create toxicity between genders where we don't even want to have relationships with each other anymore. Why do you think like the promiscuous women are all over all the algorithms? Why? It's because then it makes men want to sexualize and not pay attention to what's available to him, and to always want something that is most of the time fake, bought, and paid for. They've brainwashed a majority of the women to not think that their men are even necessary. You can just get a bag because you're a boss bitch. F that motherfucker. You know what I mean? It just goes deep, bro. And there's no way. I mean, I'll say it plainly, bro. If there's any way that any of us on this planet ever are going to figure out who and what, why, how, and when of this pedophile cabal that is abusing, eating, sacrificing our children, I don't know what the name is called. The names we know of possibly could not even be the real names. Those are all just distractions too, and it's called something else. There's been so many secret societies pulling the strings of all of how the planet runs for so long, all fighting over each other. Why do you think they got gang warfare, bro? This territorial stuff. What if Republican and Democrat are literally just like cartels, mafias that are like fighting for America? Just like the Sinaloa cartel would fight the adversary cartel for trying to take some of their territory in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? There's only way is if we can all just talk about shit. I hope I can provide that space. I'm the one who pushed start. You guys are the ones that create the capacity for all the information we talk about. You guys are the ones that show up every day. You guys are the ones that click the buttons that are needed to be clicked so this can grow. You guys are the ones that are commenting your thoughts and opinions and checking in on us when we're struggling and saying I love you and doing all the things. It's you guys, really. I just pushed start. Legends never die. This is however I feel, however you're feeling. I bet we have a lot of similar feelings, maybe just different words for it. But all I know is I just don't want all the humans on the planet to become slaves to robots and elites. I want our children to stop being hurt and abused, trafficked, eaten, sacrificed. I want there not to be really any animosity amongst humans based off of our skin color or political beliefs. I want to know the truth if they're really aliens. I want to know what the real truth is about what the human experience is. Whether that's a god, whether that's multiple gods, whether those gods have just been depicted and they're actually aliens. I just want to know the truth. I never have any ill will towards anyone. I have a sister who's transgender. I have lots of friends who's gay. I know lots of people from all sorts of different walks of life. And I don't have any animosity towards any of them. Let's get back to this documentary.
The Department of Justice was established to guard the crimes of the KM within the system, within the government. It had nothing to do with guarding you and helping you and protecting you. Nothing. Nothing. In fact, these agencies note that the FBI, BATF, that's Tobacco and Firearms, IRS, and others have no official charter according to the Library of Congress, and so have no right to exist or...
Hey! Kevin is a humans in the house. What's up, Kevin? What's up, dude? Just been chilling, bro. Just been up here on this mic spitting bars. Today's been a banger, bro. I don't know. Like I said, I don't like to toot my own horn. Toot toot. But today, I feel like today's been a pretty banger ass live stream, bro. There's been quite a bit of people up in here for quite a while. We've got 11 on YouTube. We got 12 on Twitch. We've got 8 on freaking... Dude, that's like 30 fucking something people, bro. A banger today, homie. we're just finishing the last 20 minutes of this this little documentary we've been watching over the last few streams. It's crazy. The Khazarian Mafia and even the idea, bro, of the Khazarian Mafia is kind of crazy, bro. Because if there has been a Khazarian Mafia that potentially is controlling the West, you would have to agree that it would seem that there would be a different mafia that's like controlling like the Communist Party. That's why like the West and the communists are always at each other's throats. You know what I mean? We're going to go in there and fucking, you think, are you the type of human, bro, that fucking thinks that, which one's scarier? Iran having a nuke or North Korea having a nuke? I think about that a lot, especially over the last few months as this war goes on. How come we just don't go over to fucking North Korea? Like, how come there's never been any sort of active military agenda to go get North Korea's, bro? North Korea is like consistently activating, like they have a whole country of people that literally hate America generation after generation after generation after generation. Do you think there's people in Iran that love America? I bet there's some. I bet there's a lot more than we would give credit to. But let's let this play.
Issue paychecks. You're under control. You're being used and pushed around. It is not about your betterment. It is not about your having a nicer, more protected, better life. It is about covering over their crimes and continuing with their crimes to hunt you. That's what it's about.
Most U.S. citizens believe that the United States is a country and that the president is the most powerful man on earth. The United States is not a country. It is a corporation, and the president is president.
Yeah, Kevin just got here, bro. Kevin just got here, but if you guys were here for the deep dive into web that we did today, bro, shit's insane, huh? Bro, there's connections in the files, bro, that Epstein had like some sort of authoritarian control over the Sinaloa cartel, bro. Whew. We went into like the Rothschild connection. There's like a supposedly from an FBI document saying that the FBI knows of like a body that was supposedly buried behind the 19th hole at a Donald Trump golf course. At least that's what the document says. I'm going to have can I call you before tomorrow's stream? I'll text you and let you know. I don't know how to merge the data sets. I was even looking. Can I merge all of all the data sets together, including the spiritual text with the factual information about this stuff? Crazy. I got you. All right, let's keep watching this. I want to finish this.
Of the corporation of the United States. He and his elected officials work for the corporation, not for the American people. Since the United States is a corporation, who owns the corporation of the United States? Like Canada and Australia, whose leaders are prime ministers of the Queen, and whose land is called Crown Land, the United States is just another crown colony. Crown colonies are controlled by the empire of 3 city-states. At the center of each city-state is a towering, phallic-shaped stone monument called an obelisk that points skyward. In D.C. city-state, the obelisk, known as the Washington Monument, was dedicated to Freemason George Washington by the Freemason Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia. The Secretive Brotherhood of Freemasons laid the Washington obelisk's cornerstone in 1848 and contributed 22 Masonic memorial stones. 250 Masonic lodges financed the Washington Monument obelisk, including the Knights Templar Masonic Order. At the heart of London city-state is a 187-ton, 69-foot-tall Egyptian obelisk called Cleopatra's Needle. It was transported from Egypt and erected on the banks of the River Thames. In Vatican City, another Egyptian obelisk towers high above St. Peter's Square.
The Rothschild cam deployed the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia to extract incredibly savage, bloody revenge on innocent Russians, which they had plotted for many years. ever since Khazaria was destroyed. They pre-stage and engineered the Russian Revolution by using its central banks to pay for the Bolshevik infiltration of Russia and the revolution on behalf of the KM. The Bolsheviks were actually created and deployed by the KM as the essential part of their long-planned revenge on the Russian Tsar and the innocent Russian people for breaking up Khazaria in about 81,000 for its repeated robbery, murder, and identity theft of travelers from countries surrounding Khazaria. The Bolsheviks are what were used to move in and terrorize the Russians, and the Bolsheviks eventually became the Nazis. This is all the work of the KM. This little-known fact explains the extreme violence taken out on Russia as long-standing revenge by the Rothschild-controlled KM. Remember, they hated Russia for invading their country, and they took out revenge during this, and I've got a little info on that. In a well-planned savage...
He said that they went on, right? He said that the Bolsheviks went on to be Nazis, right? Remember when I crashed out about there being like a Hess connection to the Rothschilds, and then there's being a Hess connection to the Nazis? Just generally in that kind of affirms what he's saying, you know? The whole Rothschild banking system started from a relationship with someone who lived in Hesse Castle. And then there was a very high up in command Nazi named Rudolf Hess. So just even having that connection with me in real time shows that potentially there's some validity to what he's saying regarding the Bolsheviks.
An inhumane bloodletting that stunned the world, the Bolsheviks were unleashed in full fury on behalf of the KM to gain revenge on the Russians. This had been planned since the destruction of Khazaria 1,000 years before. The Bolsheviks, at the direction of the Rothschild KM, raped, tortured, and mass murdered approximately 100 million Russians, including women, children, and infants. Some of the torture and bloodletting was so extreme, we are not going to mention it here in this article, but readers who want to know can do some in-depth internet research on the Red Terror or the Bolshevik Cheka, or watch the classic movie, The Chekist, which is available on YouTube. I watched it as well as I gathered information, and this is what I found out. This is bad. Get your kids.
See, that's another thing. You know, I'm just going to say this to all platforms, bro. I'm saying this to Meta. I'm saying this to fucking Twitch, which is Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg. Your homie over at Google, bro, has this platform called YouTube, bro. How in the fuck can you, if your homie's going to allow the video to go on YouTube, bro, there should be no reason why we should even be having any worry, or like, why can't we know this information? But for some reason, who agrees with me? Do you think that fucking there are certain topics, bro, that you feel energetically that the more and more you talk about them and get people to know about them, that there's actual violence that is a symptom of that? Because there are certain topics, bro. If I'm going to be honest with you, like 100% honest with you, bro, the more and more Candace talks, I'm genuinely scared for her, bro. If they Charlie Kirk, bro, Candace better be safe. I pray for her safety, bro. If they can kill Kirk, they can kill fucking all these people who allegedly had mysterious deaths, bro. You know what I'm saying? If Jeffrey was not suicided and Jeffrey Epstein was homicided, they can do that, bro. They can get him got in a fucking high security maximum prison in New York City, bro. There are certain topics, bro, that like when, I mean, I'll just say it straight out. There are certain topics and certain things, and we're live on stream, bro. And there's certain things and certain things have been said repeatedly over and over. Certain connections that certain platforms and their AI algorithms might be able to piece together, bro, that I sit here and I'm like, holy shit. This is crazy, bro. This is fucking insane, bro. Is this knowledge that gets people hurt, bro? Not all the time. Majority of the time it's no, but there are some times where I'm like dead ass get off stream and go fucking wait for a few days and then go back to Google Trends and see if certain countries are like looking my name up. I'm just being 100 with you. I love my life. I would never hurt myself.
Out of the room and get your kids out of the earshot. The Red Terror took place during Russian Revolution in 1917 to 1923. Felix Dzerzhinsky, I think, of the secret police enforced it. Oddly, check this out. He initiated a vast orphanage program during his leadership. What do orphanages do? They collect children. What does the KM Mafia eat? Children. Why was the Roman Catholic Church invented? As a collection agency. For who? For the Khazarian Mafia. It had nothing to do with the betterment of people. It had nothing to do with protecting the children.
He did say that. And I have to ask the question, bro. What happened to the orphanages, bro? It's a really interesting question. I mean, it depends on how far you've gone down this rabbit hole. You guys, if you know, but like the Cabbage Patch Kids, bro, baby incubators and world fairs in Tartarian architecture. What about the hundreds of thousands of kids that were put on trains and shipped across our country? Oh, they were orphans too. How come there's so many of our childhood movies that depict kids in orphanages? It's kind of crazy, right? What happened to them, bro? You're right. Did they turn into asylums, bro, where it didn't necessarily become about kids that didn't have a home? It was a monopolization of MK Ultra facilities that were monitoring kids that were different to try and not only obviously people are psychotic and were violent and shit, but like, what about the ones that weren't violent that actually had psychic abilities, bro? What about the ones back in the day that got lobotomies, dude? Like, you remember those days? Lobotomy? Where they like drill a fucking hole into your skull? It's kind of crazy.
You've been preyed on. A massive police state was created which operated outside the law and which could arrest seemingly anyone at any time who was judged a class enemy.
Anybody right now, okay, anyone right now, if you ever want to know this ever for all of time, if you go to Google Trends, Trends, Google Trends, you can search literally any keywords, any phrase, any name, any company, anything. And then you can also filter that search down by time frame. You can search it down by, restrict it to certain countries. Like, I know that in February of this year that my name was looked up over 100 times in Israel. So there's just, you can look it up. Try it out yourself. There are connections that Tyler Robinson and a whole bunch of names connected to Charlie Kirk were searched in foreign countries leading up to Charlie Kirk getting Charlie Kirked.
Looking suspicious, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and being denounced by jealous rivals could all lead to imprisonment. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? What they did, what the Bolsheviks did, is what the Germans did, is now what the American government is doing. And all the governments worldwide, they're all doing it. Throwing you out. If you don't go along with the COVID narrative, if you don't go along with the climate change narrative, if you don't go along with their narratives, you're out. You're out. You shouldn't even be alive. And it's the same threat that the Catholic Church gave to people. If you don't believe in this system, you're out. You die forever. You burn forever. You must subscribe to this stuff. And if you don't, you're out. You're in prison forever, meaning you're burned forever. It's the same fear techniques. It's the same activity happening. Imprisonment meant torture. Torture methods included pulling nails and fingers off with pliers, twisting, breaking, and pulling apart arms and legs, broken glass enemas, candles left to slowly burn underneath genitals, frying on a giant red-hot pan, boiling families alive. That happened. That's real. That is what Satanists, people who worship Baal, who worship Baphomet, this is what they do. They have no empathy. They have no heart chakra. They are working with the animal chakras, which are the bottom three. They are concerned with their own power and projection, their own genetic, their own life. This is what consumes them. And this is what they pursue, just like animals. That's why Baphomet is half animal, half human. It's not fully human. It doesn't have a heart. After World War II was finished, the Rothschilds came deployed to Cold War. And here we go. And used this as an excuse to bring Nazi scientists and mind control experts to America under Operation Paperclip. We're going to look at that in one sec. This allowed them to set up a worldwide spying and espionage system, here we are again with their spy system, that far exceeded any of their prior efforts. Under this new system, they continued to infiltrate and hijack all American institutions, including the various American church systems, Freemasonry, especially the Scottish Rite and York Rite, which you now know from Video 1 require pedophilia to become a part of, the U.S. military, U.S. intel, most private defense contractors, the judiciary, and most agencies of the USG, including most state governments, and both major political parties. This was Operation Paperclip. They literally, the U.S. government...
Wait a second. Let's just ask AI a clarifying question, okay? Because I don't know what if he said is all true. I know what Operation Paperclip is. Maybe you haven't heard of it before. Can you please provide me information about Operation Paperclip?
Operation Paperclip, also called Project Paperclip, was a secret U.S. government program right after World War II. Through it, American officials recruited about 1,600 German and Austrian scientists and technicians, many of whom had worked on Nazi Germany's advanced weaponry like the V-2 rocket. The program aimed to harness their expertise for U.S. military, space, and industrial projects, partly to prevent them from joining the Soviet Union. Scientists like Werner von Braun, who had worked on the V-2 rocket and had ties to the Nazi regime, were brought to the U.S. They contributed to projects like NASA's Explorer 1 and Saturn rockets, playing a role in the U.S. space race. The program officially ran until 1947, but similar efforts continued for years. Operation Paperclip remains controversial. It gave former Nazis U.S. citizenship and prestigious jobs, while Holocaust survivors were often denied entry to the country. Historians debate how essential these scientists were to American progress and continue to wrestle with the ethical implications of the program.
Brought him right over, huh? And Perplexity didn't hold nothing back. He didn't say alleged. He said it was a U.S. military operation.
Literally brought in Nazi scientists who were doing trials and experiments on human subjects in human studies to then lead NASA, CIA, MK Ultra program, mind control. The experts from Nazi that ran the propagandist material, namely Werner von Braun, was put at the top position at NASA. Why would you put a top propagandist, a trained propagandist, who's a Nazi, in charge of NASA? Why would you do that?
Wait. So we're making connections now. That there was a Nazi that was doing Nazi stuff. The Nazis lost. America brought this Nazi over to America. Possibly changed his name. He went on to then be a lead scientist for NASA. And then we went to the moon. All the while some of his other Nazi homies were part of MK Ultra and learning how to fucking control the human mind. Is it obvious to anybody else? I can't tell you what to believe, but I can tell you this for sure. It's all been a lie. It's all fake and gay. Everything, all of it. Just erase your memory of all of the thoughts and beliefs you've had until you had your awakening and you've come. And the second you realize it's all a lie and you radically accept that it's all a lie, you actually start to learn and intake and process information way differently. Anybody else resonate with that? Or am I off base? Maybe I'm saying something incorrect. Because a lot of us just like are programmed from birth to like believe everything we're taught. That's kind of how like the beginning of human life is programmed to be. It's like you just learn lots of stuff and you're just told by people who are or appear to have authority figures, so you take it as truth. Just like the authority figure that an AI robot teacher would give, right? You assume that they have authority, so you respect that authority, and you wouldn't ever assume that they would lie to you. So the things that they're saying must be true. So then you just like take it in as like truth and adapt it to your previous beliefs. Once you radically accept that everything could be a lie, not everything becomes a lie, but everything could be a lie. You just never know what to believe, bro. I don't know what to believe. I'm just trying to talk about the things I think and believe and how I think it and when I think it and why I think it. Because I truly and radically don't really know what to believe. It's all like the propaganda and the psyops from every fucking angle of life's categories of experience. Everything. Yeah, I mean, did how long did it take us to wake up to be like, oh yeah, maybe fast food isn't good for us. Oh, maybe soda does cause diabetes. Wait a second. You're telling me that plastic doesn't break down and there's potentially nanoplastics in my genitals and in my brain? Huh. I wonder what those line clouds are. Hey babe, you see this checkerboard pattern that these clouds are making? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if Mother Teresa is Dr. Fauci's father or mother? They do switch genders, bud. Brigitte Macron, allegedly, right? Am I right? Am I right? We got to finish this. We got 10 minutes.
It's not because he has an amazing ability with a telescope. No, it's because he knows how to control mass populations of people. You simply throw the magic, the scientific magic coming out of NASA in front of the people, and they are spellbound, and they just believe whatever you tell them. So you can do things like fake a moon landing, and nobody ever knows it. Nobody ever knows you never were there, because you have a propagandist who is leading the effort. This all goes back to mind control, propaganda, and forcing their will upon the people. That's what this goes back to. Our system is bought. Look at these guys. Look at these politicians.
Yeah. Okay. This isn't conspiratorial at all, right? Tell me this, bro. This is one of the most compelling questions. Oh, shit. Bill, what are you doing wearing Monica Lewinsky's dress? That's weird. What? Hey, Jeff, why is this picture here? Is that Bill Clinton, dude? Like, what the fuck? And heels and everything? Just like this rich billionaire that just has like the most powerful people come to his house, bro. Like in the whole world. The top bankers, the government officials, fucking from Israel, from America, from Saudi Arabia, people from all over the world come to his house and they walk in and see Bill Clinton in Monica Lewinsky's dress. And then in maybe a different property, I'm pretty sure the same property. Oh yeah, at the island. They walk in there and it just seems weird. Seems weird that George Bush is sitting there with like 2 paper planes and 2 piles of Jenga blocks. Wait a second. What do you do with Jenga? Oh yeah. You like build towers with them. It looks like he's about to throw that plane at those towers. It almost looks like the first plane he already threw them down. He threw the planes at the towers. Why do you have this picture up, Jeff? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Dang. So you're telling me that potentially you go, if these are at Jeffrey Epstein's island and you go to Jeffrey Epstein's island and you're like fucking some diplomat or some banker or royalty from a certain country and you walk onto his island for the first time and he's telling you straight to your face that I'm taking credit for 9/11 and for Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky? What the fuck, bro? That's crazy, dude. Really, just to put it in context like that, that's insane.
This is artwork that was in Jeffrey Epstein's house on that island. That is mockery, folks. Look at these two paintings. The left, that's pure mockery. People died in those events, and they're making fun of it. And then you see here, this is a horrible statement to women. In this painting on the right here, with Clinton in the same blue dress that his semen was found on. This is mockery. This is mockery. They love, one thing you can always know, these people love to mock you and lie to your face. Just watch a press conference coming out of government. They laugh and enjoy mocking and lying to everyone at those conferences. You can see them at the press conferences that they hold. The Rothschild cam decides to mind control the American masses to make it much easier to manipulate them into approving their illegal, unconstitutional, unprovoked, undeclared, unwinnable perpetual wars needed to make huge profits and gain more world power, also known as the military-industrial complex, the MIC. They decided to gain complete control over all public education by setting up the Department of Education and creating globalists and socialist curriculums based on political correctness, diversity, and perversion as normal teachings. Now, folks, before we get in...
Okay. My wife's about to get off work, so we're going to cut it close. Just know, real quick. Everything is appreciated. Just know. Tripoverdrip.shop if you want to help support the channel, bro. Get your freaking Tripoverdrip merch. Tripoverdrip merch. I don't have time, homie, to do it. I got to go, bro. We got 3 hours and 11 minutes. We'll finish that tomorrow. We'll finish that tomorrow. I could use some help, player. If you want to help, you could buy some merch. Things are rough around these parts right now. Especially if you resonated, and really, to be honest, if you sat for this whole live stream and you really dove deep and, you know, you listened to what we talked about, you could understand why, as a content creator who relies on his content to provide an income for his family, they obviously don't want me talking about this stuff, or the fact that I would go from being able to survive to very quickly this month to, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, bro. It's pretty mind controlling and crazy, you know. If you want to help donate specifically and straight to Tripoverdrip, there is a Stream East Elements a Stream Elements link in the chat that just basically allows you to straight donate to my PayPal if you feel compelled to. No obligation, bro. I have a whole bunch of merch that I have to send out, and I don't even have... I had to use like a pay later to buy groceries currently right now, because I was not expecting what I normally expect to not be what I expected, and to be scary low. That makes sense, bro. So I appreciate all of you. There's no obligation. You don't ever have to even buy anything from me. You don't have to ever you don't have to do any of that. All right? None of it. You could just come here and never even comment and never even like the video, and just come here and listen and disagree with me every time, and I still appreciate you. You're all just part of the story that is me. Every person that wears my merch out there, bro. Did you? I didn't ever think, bro, when I was growing up, that I would have like my clothing and shit out there. I have Cash App, Pretty Ricky. I'll send you my Cash App, Pretty Ricky. I appreciate you even saying that. I appreciate and love you guys. The wife's about to get home from working in the Matrix all day. I've been slow cooking cracked chicken in the slow cooker all day. You know what I'm saying? I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace the fuck.